A game all season long. That's why we are the home of the Wildcats. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen here. Join me and my compadre Chris Brockman every Monday on the Overreaction Monday podcast as we dive into the latest headlines across the NFL playoffs. Are you ready, Chris Brockman?
Just as handsome as ever, buddy.
I appreciate you saying that, and I wish I could say the same to you.
Come on.
There is a ton to overreact to, as now every other team that didn't make the playoffs, they're already looking forward to next year.
Yep.
Come react or overreact with us leading up to the big game. Overreaction Monday, wherever you listen.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Minimum purchase required. Interest accrues from date of purchase but is waived if paid within promotional period. Go to windowappointmentnow.com for full offer details.
Attention all homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? Fog between the glass? Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Anderson. And right now you could buy one window or door and get one 40% off. Just text OLD to 200-300 for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for $0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for a year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus buy one window or door and get one 40% off. And right now save an extra $200 off your entire purchase. Text OLD to 200-300 right now. Text OLD to 200-300. Don't wait. Text the word OLD to 200-300. Text OLD to 200-300.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We are the sports station that Tucson turns to for all the latest news when it comes to Arizona men's basketball, along with all the play-by-play action. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
Counting down to Super Bowl Sunday. We are just now, what? My math is correct.
Not counting
5
very
days
good.
away. 5 days away from the big game at the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. Kansas City, San Francisco. Who you got? We can talk about that this week. Who you are taking. I want to hear from San Francisco 49er fans about your team. I want to hear from Kansas City Chiefs. You love the Chiefs. Tell me why the Chiefs are going to win it again. Is it their defense? They rebuilt this defense. You know, when you got all that high-paid offensive talent, sometimes you have to go young on defense, and they've done that, and they've rebuilt this thing, and it's gotten them back to a chance now to, I don't know. I mean, people have been arguing back and forth this week about whether or not this is a dynasty in terms of the Kansas City Chiefs. We can have that argument if you'd like as well at 520-848-1290. I mean, anytime you get to as many Super Bowls as they've been to, what is this now, 3 in 5 years? That's a pretty, it's tough. We constantly talk about how tough it is to get to the game's grandest stage. And they've been able to get there now 3 times in 5 years. So that's a pretty good legacy. What have they been to? 7 AFC championship games in a row. So now they've won. I think they've won. Let's see. So this is, I'd have to look. I think they've been to 7, and now they've won. I think they've won more than 3, though. That doesn't sound. I think they've won 5 of those 7. I have to go back and look that up. But anyway, they've been there 7 straight times. That alone is really impressive for the Kansas City Chiefs. So if we want to discuss if this is a dynasty, it's about as close as you're going to get, I think, for this era post-Patriots, because the Patriots, of course, dominated this thing throughout the late 2000s and the 2010s into that decade there.
They lost 2.
Two.
And they've
won 2.
4. 4 out of 6.
So they've been 4 out of 6.
Yeah, they lost the AFC Championship to the Bengals in 2021, and they lost to the Patriots in 2018.
Okay. So of the 7 that they've been to, they've won 5.
Right.
Okay. That's what I thought. I thought it was 5 Super Bowls and 3 in the last 5 years. Okay. Very good.
I mean, it's the same question as the Warriors, right? I mean, the dynasty is such a short window. We think of dynasties as being 4 titles in 5 years type of thing, right? The Warriors, won and then they didn't win, then they won again, then they won again, that whole thing. And the Chiefs, I think, similar. I think it's hard because, the Patriots just dominated the headlines for such a long time, and I think they kind of stretched out what the longevity is needed.
Oh, by far.
For a dynasty, right?
Yeah. I mean, that their run is, I don't know that run will ever be equaled. What they were able to do with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, I mean, that's just, it was never seen before, and I don't think we'll ever see that again.
Yeah.
But this Chiefs thing they've got going on, it's like you think about the Bills. The Bills have been so good recently, but they haven't been able to get past the Chiefs. It kind of takes me back to my Cleveland Cavaliers days in the 90s. The Cavs were so good, but they just couldn't get past the Bulls because the Bulls were always there to knock them out.
Hot Rod Williams.
Oh, yeah. Hot Rod. Rest in peace, Hot Rod. Good teams. Brad Doherty, Mark Price.
Mark Price is
Craig
one of my
Elo.
favorite players that doesn't get enough attention. I love Mark Price.
Yeah,
Mark Price,
he was a
was
fun
Steve
guard to
Nash
watch.
before Steve Nash.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, could he play. Fun guy to watch. All right, we've got a lot for you today on this Tuesday. We will carry the Super Bowl here on Wildcats Radio 1290 on Sunday. Just to give you an indication of what Sunday will look like, because there's no Arizona women's basketball on Sunday. They play Monday this week at the University of Southern California. So we will have all of the Super Bowl coverage here starting at noon with Super Bowl preview. That'll last an hour. Normally that show is only a half an hour, but it'll be an hour this Sunday. Super Bowl Insider then at 1. That show is always an hour. Will be an hour on Sunday. Then we get into the pregame show. Super Sunday begins at 2 o'clock. That'll take us right up to that'll be an hour. That'll take us up to the game broadcast, which begins at 3 o'clock. And then the contest will begin at 4:30. So Super Bowl 58 right here on Wildcats Radio 1290. We'll have all of your coverage. 4:30, the anticipated kickoff here in Tucson. You having a Super Bowl party, J-Dub?
I was actually just thinking before the show what I'm thinking I might cook. I wouldn't call it a party. I don't know if we'll have too many people over, but we'll definitely put something together and watch the game for sure.
This is, in fact, I cannot remember. I'm trying to rack my brain. I think it might have been. This is the first Super Bowl Sunday that I've not had to work.
Right.
In, I think, 12 years, 13 years. I want to say 2011 was the last Super Bowl, because I got into television in July of 2011, and I think I've pretty much worked every Super Bowl Sunday since then.
So I think the more important question is, what are you going to be doing on Sunday?
I was thinking about that last night. I'm like, what am I going to? It didn't really even dawn on to me because I'm not that person that looks too far in advance. My wife is out of town, but she comes back on Sunday.
Right.
So I don't know. Like I was like, maybe we'll just cook it up and watch it at home on our couch, like we try to like to do on some Sundays. We've had a chance to, now that I've kind of shifted over to this radio thing and off the television, and I have Sundays off now. We might just kind of sit on the couch and do that versus, I don't know that I want to go. I went out and I watched the NFC Championship game at an establishment. I don't know that I want to do that for the Super Bowl, but, perhaps we might decide that we want to go do that.
You guys probably fall in that category, too, where for 11 years you've been invited, and since you haven't said yes, you're no longer getting those invitations anymore.
I don't know that I was. I don't know that I was ever invited. I know none of my friends here. I mean, first of all, I don't have a lot of friends. I don't circulate in a lot of large populations.
You're a busy man.
Most of my friends are like older friends that live in other places. Like my buddy in Cleveland, he used to have a Super Bowl party every single year, and the thing was you had to wear a jersey of your team, whether that you had to wear, it didn't necessarily have to be your team, but you had to wear an NFL jersey to the party.
Sure.
That was kind of his thing. So maybe I'll pull out one of my NFL jerseys and I'll put it on Sunday, and we'll celebrate the National Football League in some way or fashion. What are you doing on Super Bowl Sunday? Let us know. 520, how do you do Super Bowl Sunday at your house? 520-848-1290. What do you cook? How do you serve it? How many people do you have? How many TVs do you anoint to have the game on? I want to hear all about how you do the Super Bowl. We'll do that. We can have that conversation all week long. So don't feel like if you want to have it today, give us a call. If you want to have it tomorrow, or we won't be. Obviously, Thursday we'll be in basketball mode. But today, Wednesday, and Friday, normal shows. How are you doing, Super Bowl? We want to hear that. So we will have the game right here on Wildcats Radio 1290.
I'll be cooking while I hear a lot of puppy noises from the living room as Paige watches puppies play with each other.
I see. Now, and those will be the puppies in your house. That's not a show.
No, the puppies on television.
Oh.
The alternative programming, not alternative because it's not on at the same time.
Is that dog show on? Is that Super Bowl weekend normally?
No. The big one, the Westminster show. I have no idea what time of year that is. No, but I'm referring more to the Puppy Bowl, which they do.
Oh, yeah.
In line with the Super Bowl, and they get a lot of puppies from that need to be adopted, and they put them up, and they have background stories, and she loves it.
The Puppy Bowl. Yeah, I don't know that I've ever watched that.
I don't know that I've ever watched it either, but I've heard it many times on TV.
So in those last 11 years that I've had to work the Super Bowl, I've actually worked 3 of them. Well, actually, take that back. I've worked 2, and then the last time it was in Arizona, which was last year, right? Last year was here.
Yeah.
So I did not work the game last year. I worked up during the week of the game. So I think I was up there Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then I came back Saturday. I flipped with Paul Sakala, and he went up and worked Saturday and then the game, and I did everything from back here. So I was up there Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of game week. Worked game day on site at the one in Los Angeles, which I believe was now 3 years ago, 21. So 2 years, maybe 3 years ago, I think was LA. Or was that 2 years ago when the Bengals played the Rams?
That was, 2021.
Yeah, was that 21 or 22?
Yeah,
okay,
21.
21. So, yeah, I was at that one. And then the previous one that was here in Arizona, which was the Seahawks and the Patriots, the one where Pete Carroll threw the pass at the goal line. And everyone was scratching their heads and saying, you have Marshawn Lynch at the 1 yard line, and you threw the ball. Still.
Has there ever been a play that was more second guessed?
Still one of the, I told people that night, it didn't surprise me because Pete Carroll did the same thing in the Rose Bowl in 2005. He had a Lindell White.
Big dude.
And he ran some play with Reggie Bush when he only needed 1 yard.
I remember that too. It's kind of like too clever for your own good, right?
Yeah. It's like, bro, it's 1 yard. Line up your dogs, give the ball to your basher, and go get it.
Try and stop us.
Don't try some crazy stuff. I mean, come on. Unless you're who was the Eagles coach that ran the play with Nick Foles now. Unless you're going to run something like that you might have a chance at working, it's clearly deceptive. Don't be trying to do crazy stuff when you need 1 or 2 yards. Just line up and go get it. All right, we are joined by the third member of our show.
Greetings.
Her name is Cricket. Cricket, we're talking about Super Bowl parties. You know the Super Bowl is this Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Are you invited to a party? Are you having a party? Are you going anywhere where you're going to watch the game with people or no?
I was invited to a party. I am every year, and
Ooh.
I always say no, thank you, because it's the slowest day for volunteers at Pima Animal Care Center.
Yeah.
It's the lowest
Really?
day for volunteer attendance. That and Easter Sunday, Super
Wow.
Bowl and Easter.
I would not. I would have thought maybe a holiday like Easter, but I would not have thought that the Super Bowl would be a day like that.
Yeah. So I feel bad. I want as many pups to get out. So I haven't gone to a Super Bowl party for so long. You know, I don't follow the games, but I like to yell. I like to eat. And I want to watch because it's a big cultural event for us Americans.
Were you when you did go? Were you into the commercials too? 'Cause
Yes.
I hear like people aren't as into the commercials anymore as they used to be either.
Because you can see them early now on the internet.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to see
Well,
Jelly Rolls commercial, you could find it right now.
You can also
Screws
see
up
them
everything.
late, too. I mean, there used to be a captive audience thing where if you did not see any new spots that were $5 million to make with a bunch of celebrity cameos, if you didn't see it live during the Super Bowl, you know, you're screwed. You didn't
You're
get
not
to
gonna
see it
get to
again.
see
But
it,
now
right.
it's up on YouTube within an hour after it airs, so that
And-
kind of thing. So you can see them
Yeah.
anytime.
And days before, too.
Sure,
It's kind of
yeah.
disappointing in a way.
So who's this friend that invites you every year and you don't
Shannon.
go? Oh, Shannon has a Super Bowl party?
Shannon's mom has a huge
Well, we got to
Super
get
Bowl
Shannon
party.
on the show tomorrow.
Oh,
so she can talk about her
yeah.
Super Bowl party.
You got to get her on because
Wow.
it's epic. The spread of food and the drinks are flowing and it's just so fun. Like I miss that. I would like to go sometime again.
Shannon from our Kim FM sister station.
Yes.
Is the side I would not have known that Shannon was the one throwing the big party here.
Well, her mom is.
Oh, her mom.
Her mom
okay.
throws a party, but
wow, okay.
you know the family friends are invited.
Yeah. All right. That's awesome. I was telling J-Dub this is the first time I think in 13 years I've had Super Bowl Sunday off because I always worked weekend sports in television when I worked here in the market. And I think that's 2011 was the last time I actually had it off. What was the year of the Cardinals? Was that, I know that was the first year I was here. So I think it was 2009, I think was when the Cardinals were in it. I was off. Yeah, I remember being off. I remember watching that game on my couch. And I remember I was on the east side, so I didn't get the fancy stuff, the fancy cut-in that they got. You remember the fancy cut-in
I
that
don't.
the folks on the north side got?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was not safe for your children. Let's just put it that
Okay.
way.
Okay, gotcha.
One of those deals right there. Yeah, I didn't get that on my TV down on the east side. So,
Okay.
all right, we are gonna get you home every 20 minutes on the 5. I hear Cricket has got something that she is going to be giving away a little bit later. So stay tuned for that. She's Miss Mysterious over there, so she's not saying anything. She's what was my nickname yesterday?
We never know.
Chaos.
Chaos.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
Mysterious Chaos. And
Mystery
we
Chaos.
We still got to come up with something for J-Dub.
Yeah.
But until that time, tell us how to get home, Cricket.
Suspicious. I say
Suspicious.
suspicious. I'm kidding. From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather. Together with a crash at Valencia and Houghton reported. Some busy areas for traffic this afternoon. We've spotted 22nd Street at I-10, Grant Road at I-10, also westbound Ajo Way at Mission. There is a wind advisory until 8 tonight with rain tonight into tomorrow. Cloudy, 66 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples Print Big Sale means the more you print, the more you save. Get $20 off your print purchase of $100 or more, $50 off your print purchase of $200 or more, and $100 off your print purchase of $300 or more. Ends 2/10/24. See staples.com/print for details. Print more, save more at Staples.
DK on the Sports Tip, 3 to 6 weekdays.
Working on my hockey lingo.
You're
my
doing that.
jargon.
You're learning quick.
Do you know what icing is?
I love icing. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, it's the best part of hockey, isn't it?
Don't miss out on all the fun.
Tired of dry, itchy skin? Have mineral buildup at every faucet. Ram Plumbing's affordable, green, eco-friendly water softener and alkalized purification systems are built right here in our great state of Arizona and use a fraction of the wastewater as their competitors. Want soft water, non-chlorinated, or the best alkalized drinking water? You can trust Ram Plumbing to be your one-stop shop. Ask about their Water Taste Challenge. 40th year anniversary savings, up to $500 off water systems and $40 off any service. If your plumbing's in trouble, call Ram on the double.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Tucson area attorneys. Scott Trout, licensed in Missouri, Illinois, and Georgia only. CordellCordell.com.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-temperature performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through March 4th, get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge or Edge High Mileage Full Synthetic and an oil filter for $36.99, only at AutoZone.
Claim based on Sequence 3 H-test versus API SP test limits.
Let's see, something different for dinner. Searching restaurants near me.
Right here, ma'am. How can we help?
Gee, same old, same old.
Wait, we're right here. Ma'am, our restaurant's just a few blocks from you. Why is she not seeing us?
Back to the usual, I guess.
Ma'am, can you not see us?
Nope, they can't see you. Because you're buried deep in the list of local restaurants. You are invisible online. Introducing Cumulus Boost. Get a boost, get found, get on the map. Learn more at cumulusboost.com.
I don't think people understand how much cool air escapes into their walls and attic.
Or how much extra that costs you every month.
If only there was a way to explain how Alaskan AC keeps that from happening. It's kind of like that.
Did you seriously just aeroseal Gary's mouth?
Notice how almost no air is getting through?
True.
You're right, Gary. Only Alaskan AC includes aeroseal with every AC system we sell. It keeps the cool in your home, not in your walls and attic.
He said all that? What do you say now?
You're probably paying 20 to 50% more than you have to. You'll see savings from your new AeroSeal included systems the very first year.
I had no idea Gary knew so much about AeroSeal.
It's a big part of how we customize heating and air systems so people are comfortable in every room.
I gotta hand it to you, Gary. You know how to make a good point.
A regular pro at this.
Oh, that's right.
Forgot the most important part.
AeroSeal, included with every system at Alaskan AC.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Tucson area attorneys. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only. CordellCordell.com.
Paid for by Cordell & Cordell.
At Boot Barn Work, we support those who rise in the early mornings and keep pushing through the long night shifts. Because there are mouths to feed, homes to build, and a country to fuel. Those who mark their progress by the wear on their tools and the sweat dripping down their face. Every scuff on your boots represents your role in America's unrelenting workforce. Boot Barn Work, for those who feed, build, and fuel the nation.
Listen to the home of the Wildcats wherever you are on your iPhone and iPad by downloading our new app in the App Store so you can tune in wherever you are 24 hours a day. The home of the Wildcats is everywhere. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Cookie wants to be a professional wrestler.
I'm Cookie Serratos, and I'm 11 years old.
She also wants to win all the medals. That's why Cookie and her family make every day count, squeezing out her best with Go-Go Squeeze.
Okay, Cookie, let's break for a Go-Go Squeeze.
Go-Go Squeeze Fruit on the Go pouches are a nutritious snack made from 100% fruit with no sugar added.
Go, Cookie!
Because when you nurture your kids, you squeeze out the best in them. Squeeze out the best with Go-Go Squeeze. Not a low-calorie food. Products range from 11 to 13 grams of sugar and 60 to 70 calories per serving.
Today on Hey Culligan's Smart Home, Smarter Water Softener. Here's Kevin.
Hey, Culligan, can a smart water softener lift those heavy salt bags for me?
Kevin, it can.
Wait, it can?
Yep, the smart high-efficiency water softener from Culligan can alert your dealer when the salt needs to be replaced, and they'll do it for you, so your water stays soft and you stay away from lifting the bags.
I mean, I could lift them if I wanted.
No judgment here, Kevin. We're happy to do it, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
I thought learning a language would be too much work, but Babbel makes learning fun. J'aime Babbel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes. And soon, you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
Babbel isn't robots talking. You learn words and phrases from real native speakers. I was ready for real-life conversations in just a few weeks. So easy.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. It is travel week for both the Arizona men's and women's basketball teams. The fellas will be back out onto the road as they will take on the Rocky Mountain schools. And, of course, whenever you get this trip, we got the bevy of questions about altitude today, lobbed at Tommy Lloyd at his weekly press conference a little bit earlier in the week than the norm for both Tommy Lloyd and Adia Barnes because of the travel for both programs that is coming up. So we had a chance to speak with both of them today. You'll hear from Tommy Lloyd in his entirety coming up a little bit later in the show. We'll also dive into some of the things that Adia Barnes had to say today. And, of course, the Adia Barnes radio show, you can hear that tonight. That's coming up here on Wildcats Radio 1290 at 5:30. So we actually have a short show for you today. I always forget that on Tuesday. We have a little bit shorter show today. We will go just till 5:30, and then you've got all of that coming up. Adia Barnes will take you from 5:30 to 6.
A protest involved tonight?
At the show?
Yeah.
I don't know that there will be
Coach Lloyd said
protest.
he was doing his press conference today under protest because it was 24 hours after he had already done it.
Adia loves to talk to us, so I don't think she would ever protest hanging out with the media and hanging out with Derek as she does every Tuesday night at the Sands Club. So head on up there and check that out. That's always a great program. I mentioned we've got the Super Bowl that is coming up for you. That is going to be on Sunday here. And last night was Super Bowl Media Day. So this used to be on Tuesday. Then they moved it to Monday evening, and they usually put it in an auditorium, and it's all kinds of people that don't really cover sports who are out there with a chance to try to talk to the participants of the Super Bowl and ask them all kinds of crazy questions. And sometimes you get some interesting stuff. Sometimes you just get some really weird,
like how long you've been a black quarterback? Wasn't that one of the famous questions back in the day?
Right. Exactly. Some of the crazy stuff that you'll get at Super Bowl Media Day. Of course, the big story for us is the fact that the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers is Brock Purdy. And Purdy played his high school ball here in State 48 up at Gilbert Perry and was a highly recruited player. I always say, how he got out of Iowa State, how he got out of Arizona to go to Iowa State, I'll never quite understand that, but it did happen. And so he is going to have a chance now to perform on the game's grandest stage after getting his team to the NFC Championship game last year, but losing to the Philadelphia Eagles. He got his 49ers back, and they were able to beat the Detroit Lions, and now Brock Purdy will play on the game's grandest stage in a state that borders his home state here in Arizona. So he's going to have a lot of support up there. There apparently have been billboards up congratulating Brock Purdy throughout the Phoenix area, and some people are kind of upset about that. I guess some of the Cardinals fans are upset that there are billboards up in the Valley celebrating Brock Purdy and the fact that he's made the Super Bowl. That's a little weird. I don't know why you would want to be upset. I understand being a Cardinals fan. I understand the Niners are one of the rivals of the Cardinals, but this is one of your hometown kids who has gotten to the game's grandest stage. So I don't know why you would want to be upset about that. But we'll hear from Brock Purdy coming up here shortly. We'll hear from Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan, as well as Patrick Mahomes and George Kittle, all on the success of Brock Purdy.
It's time for your Arizona Insiders.
Oh, sweet.
Each weekday, Wildcats Radio 1290 brings you all the latest news and opinions of U of A basketball. So bear down, Tucson, and let's talk Arizona basketball. Our Arizona Insiders are brought to you by Coors Light, official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. There's nothing like game day in Arizona.
It is a travel week for the Arizona men and women's basketball teams. The fellows, as we mentioned, are headed over to the Rocky Mountain Schools, Utah first, Colorado second. We're joined by the voice of the Arizona Wildcats, Brian Jeffries, who makes his weekly visit with us. And Brian, it's interesting that every time we get ready for this trip, the questions about altitude always come up to the head coach, whether it was Sean Miller or whether I'm sure Luke. I don't think Luke got those questions because they didn't really go that way very much. But certainly Tommy Lloyd has gotten them over the course of the last few years. As the broadcaster who's made this trip, I would think maybe like what now? This will be your 13th maybe time going on this particular trip. What do you notice about the altitude when you go on this trip?
Well, when I go out and run my 15 miles in the morning, it does tire me out a little more than normal. But, I don't know, David. Now, here's the way I look at it, and that is Tucson's about 2,400 feet above sea level. The altitude in Salt Lake City is, I'm not sure what it is, 4,000 maybe?
Okay, so not much more.
Whatever, not much more. And so this is the best news, the way the schedule's laid out, is it's almost like a stepping stone here. So you start at 2,400, you go to Salt Lake, and you're there for a couple of days, and then you go to Boulder, where you're quote-unquote a mile high. And so you get some acclimation, I think, when you're in Salt Lake City. So when you get to Boulder, it isn't like you've gone from sea level to, 5,000 feet or whatever it is. And so that's the one thing I've noticed on this trip. When Utah comes first, it's a lot easier to adjust to because the altitude in Salt Lake City just isn't that much greater than Tucson. And I think you have a couple of days there, and you get to Boulder and you have a full day before the game. And in this case, you've got not only Friday but all day Saturday. And I'm not going to say it doesn't affect you, because it does. I've spent a lot of summers in Colorado at about 8,000 feet, and I know when I get up there, I need 24 hours just to, my body to adjust to it. But that we're not going to be at that altitude, and of course, I'm not running up and down a court, so it's not fair for me to say that it's no effect at all. But also, these guys are in great physical shape. I mean, that's, they've been working on this for months now. And so I think for athletes that are in shape, and again, you're not as high maybe as, the LA schools at sea level going up to Salt Lake and to Boulder, maybe a bigger effect on them. So like I said, I'm sure there is some adjustment there. And, I asked Tommy Lloyd on the radio show last night. It had nothing to do with altitude, but are you speeding up your rotation, guys coming off the bench a little quicker and trying to get subs in and out? And I think that's one thing that could help, is that you don't keep a guy out there too long. You get him a rest, and they've got a nice rotation right now where they can get guys in and out of the game if the altitude starts to affect them.
When you mentioned obviously the rotation and the three strong kids that come off the bench, and Moteus Krivas and KJ Lewis and Jaden Bradley, and boy, did those two guards. And, what did you like about the way they affected the game in the second half that allowed the Wildcats to come back from that 11-point deficit?
Well, I think you used the right word there. They affected the game. There's a lot of things that were not in the box score that the coaches certainly see, and I think all of us that watch the game could certainly see. And it's just their incredible effort in certain junctures, and I think in particular on the defensive end. It may have not led to a steal or a block shot or a missed shot. And maybe it did miss shots because they altered some shots. And I think that they put pressure on those Stanford shooters in particular that took them out of their comfort zone. In the first half, they had Stanford had too many open looks. I think in the second half, Arizona did a much better job of just pressuring them and taking a little bit off your mark. And sometimes that's all it takes. And those two guys in particular, because of the positions they play, I think did a tremendous job in that department. Like I said, that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but all of us that watched the game could certainly see how it affected the game.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about the pressure, and there's one play that kind of stands out to me in the second half. It was like with KJ Lewis, he didn't get his hands on the ball to make the steal, but it was just kind of the pressure that he put while the ball was coming across half court that the guard for Stanford just kind of lost track of where he was and lost track of where the ball was, and all of a sudden it's available for KJ Lewis to get it and then initiate transition the other way that got an easy bucket for the Arizona Wildcats. And so I think, a lot of people maybe don't understand just how important the pressure aspect of that is. Sometimes you don't even have to get your hands on it. Sometimes it's just the way you pressure a player that forces them into making those mistakes that we see sometimes at the offensive end for other teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in KJ and Jaden, they're both very quick of foot. As I say, they've got great footwork. They can move laterally. And so that's what makes them good defenders, is because they can do that. They can stay on guys. And you don't see very often that somebody is able to drive past them unless they're using a screen or a pick or whatever. So that's a huge part of the game. And, those three guys off the bench are, very, very valuable. And, I talked to Tommy earlier today, and he brought that up, that, they wouldn't be where they are right now with those three guys. And everybody has a bench, but, what does that bench give you? And Arizona's getting, about 24, 25 points a game off the bench. They did on Saturday at least, or Sunday night. And but it goes beyond, as we said, it goes beyond the points. Just the contributions they make, I think, are very important. And going back to what we were just talking about a moment ago, and that is now you're playing a couple of games at some altitude, and they're going to be called upon maybe a little bit earlier, maybe play a few more minutes. We'll see here and there. I mean, a lot of it depends on how the game plays out. But I think, you always talk about those starters, but this is an 8-man team right now, and all of them have their contribution, all have their roles, and they've all played their roles extremely well, and that's why Arizona sits at 17-5 right now.
Brian Jeffries is joining us. He is the voice of the Arizona Wildcats. U of A men on the road at Utah and Colorado this week. Brian, I would imagine Reggie's on the trip with you for the calls this week?
I hope so. I haven't talked to him in the last couple of days. And, Reggie, kind of.
As long as he's on the flight when you leave, right?
Schedule. Yeah. He's a former player, so, he just has that sense. He knows when he has to be on the plane, and I'll see him tomorrow, and we'll be headed there. So, we'll, and it's always getting his perspective, I think, on, and I'll ask him about that, on Thursday night, the altitude. And he didn't get to play in it a lot, of course, because as you said, that was before the two mountain schools joined the conference. But he's had plenty of experience. He's played international ball all over the world, so he understands a lot about the atmospheric conditions, even though it's an indoor sport, that you play in, and how you have, that's, part of being in great shape, continuing your training regimen, so that when you run into situations like this, that you're ready to go.
Are you having a Super Bowl party on Sunday, Brian?
No, we're going to get back pretty late, and so we've kind of talked about it. It's going to be low key. My Sundays are my day off, and I like to keep them kind of low key, and I'm just hoping for a good game. I don't know about you, David, but I don't have a rooting interest in either of these teams. I just hope that it's a good game. Fourth quarter, it gets decided, and you can say, hey, it was a great Super Bowl. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah, I don't have a rooting interest either with either of these teams. I think I'm right where you are. I will ask you, though, in your low keyness, is there something that what's your is there something you like to eat specifically, maybe on Super Bowl Sunday, or when you and the lovely wife are cooking something? What do you guys kind of make?
Well, I mean, if she goes all out, and I don't know, how far we're going this year, the bacon-wrapped little sausages with the brown sugar, and then you bake it in the oven.
Okay.
That's really good. Artichoke dip. I mean, if those two things are on the table, I'm in heaven. Let's put it that way.
Well, I remember I was listening to your conversation with Moteas Krivas. I think it was before the game last week, one of the games last week, and we had actually had a chance prior to that week to talk to Gile Bete Starkute from the golf team, and they both talked about that ground meat stuffed potato that apparently is all the rage in Lithuania. Have you ever tried one of those?
I have not. I've heard that those guys, love that stuff. They'll eat it every day, and they get a chance sometimes. I think when one of their moms might be visiting. My understanding is that she's done the cooking for those guys that don't get that food, at least the home cooked variety here in the States. So it sounds fascinating, and I know those guys have different tastes. No matter what country they're from, and that's one of the fascinating things when you around these guys to see what they like and what they don't like, and then what they've become accustomed to in the States. I remember last year Philip Borovichin, and his first thing that he loved in America was chicken wings. I mean, he couldn't get enough chicken wings. And I talked to him, 3 weeks ago, and I said something about chicken. Well, he's over chicken wings now. He's moved on to other things. And, that's great. You love to see that when the guys get to experience new things.
That's awesome. Always great to hear about those types of stories. Brian, safe travels and have great calls this weekend.
All right. Thanks, David. See you.
Brian Jeffries, the voice of the Wildcats.
Thanks to Coors Light for bringing you today's Arizona Insiders on Wildcats Radio 1290. Coors Light, official corporate sponsors of Arizona Athletics. There's nothing like game day in Arizona.
It's Arizona and Utah on Thursday night. Tip off at 6 o'clock. Early game on Thursday. I believe it's a little bit later game. Isn't it I'm not sure what time it is. I know it's later on Saturday, JW. You know off the top of your head what it is?
The men's game?
Yeah.
I know the women play late, don't they?
They play
at 9
late on 9 o'clock on Monday.
8 o'clock versus Colorado.
Thought it was later, like it was going to put us in that post-midnight kind of time frame.
You'll get plenty of sleep for your Super Bowl party.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Getting you home every 20 minutes on the 5s through your traffic and your weather. Here's Cricket.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. With Valencia and Houghton, a crash reported and clearing at Houghton and Valencia. Some slowdowns for Ahaway and Mission. And we do see some busy traffic usually in the afternoons. Speedway at I-10 and also Grant Road at I-10. We do have a wind advisory in effect until 8 tonight, rain tonight into tomorrow, and 65 and cloudy now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples Print Big Sale means the more you print, the more you save. Get $20 off your print purchase of $100 or more, $50 off your print purchase of $200 or more, and $100 off your print purchase of $300 or more. Ends 2/10/24. See staples.com/print for details. Print more, save more at Staples.
In 1924, Studebaker turned down Frank O'Reilly. So he went with Chevy. And the rest is history. 100 years of history. And we're celebrating it on March 23rd. And you're invited.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
At Blue Moon, we craft our beer with Valencia orange peel and coriander for a brighter flavor that's one of a kind every time. So we decided to craft a one-of-a-kind radio ad using just those ingredients. Orange peel. Coriander, orange peel, 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 orange peel, orange peel, orange peel, orange peel. Okay, you know what? Maybe we should just stick to crafting one-of-a-kind beers. Blue Moon, one of a kind, every time. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Co., Golden, Colorado.
At Standard Restaurant Supply, their vision and #1 goal is to improve the lives of their customers and clients by providing a better culinary experience. Standard Restaurant Supply, if it's in a restaurant and not food, they have it. Open to the public, no membership fees, and they offer bulk store pricing without the bulk store purchase. Open Monday through Saturday at 601 South Cherry Avenue or call 885-2345. Standard Restaurant Supply is a proud sponsor of the U of A Radio Sports broadcast.
Westwood One is the only place for exclusive audio coverage of every NFL postseason game. Hi, this is Scott Graham. Join us throughout the month of January and into February as we bring you Super Wildcard Weekend, the Divisional Round, Championship Sunday, and of course Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. All 13 NFL playoff games are on Westwood One. If it's the NFL playoffs, it's right here.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and
2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Psst. Hey, I have a secret. I use Secret Whole Body Deodorant because more than just my armpits stink.
Oh, can I use it where my bra rubs under my...
Oh, yeah.
And what about down there? You know, my...
Totally. 4 out of 5 gynecologists would recommend it. So I tried it, and now I get 72 hours of freshness from my pits to my...
Ooh, I love that it's a spray.
Me too. And it comes in sticks and creams too. Go get your Secret Whole Body Deodorant.
Coach Tommy Lloyd here. Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is the ultimate team when it comes to your home's comfort.
Thinking about replacing your heating and air system? It's February at Right Way.
These are some of the slowest months of the year. We have equipment in stock and our crews are available.
And to spark business, we're including an 80% furnace absolutely free with the purchase of an air conditioning system.
And if that's not enough, we'll include a Wi-Fi thermostat, 10-year parts and labor warranty, plus we have zero interest financing available.
Call or text 520-200-2422 or visit rightwayac.com.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. 520-848-1290. Thanks to Brian Jeffries for joining us. Let's switch gears now from the University of Arizona up to West Anklam Road and Pima College. The spring sports are underway. Pima baseball, we had a chance to get out there and talk to some of the fellas a little bit a few weeks ago as they were getting ready for the start of their season. And the ladies softball season is also underway. In fact, the Pima Aztec softball team has already played 9 games off to a 4-5 start. And we are pleased to be joined by freshman utility infielder Natalia Rivera out of Sunnyside High School joining us here. And Natalia, welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So this is your first year of college softball. How has it gone so far?
Honestly, it feels like a dream. I know some people can be saying that, but I'm honestly really blessed to be here and have the chance to play it after high school and all these years of club. It really is a blessing.
Now, you were on a pretty good, I remember last year, you were on a pretty good Sunnyside softball team. How did that kind of work for you guys as you were kind of going through that program to kind of build up to that awesome year that you guys had last year, kind of playing deep into the postseason?
I'd say just ever since my freshman year, we always had such a really good coaching staff. And since I would say it worked in our favor to having such a young team building up from my sophomore all the way to my senior year. And going based off last year, I really thought last year was going to be our year to really make it to the championship game. But regardless, I feel like we always come headstrong and always wanting to win and just being such a pillar for our community and shining where we can.
Now, softball obviously is a huge deal. Really, like all the diamond sports, are a huge deal down on the south side, and particularly in the Sunnyside community with the success of Sunnyside Little League. Did you come up through the Sunnyside Little League system?
I did. Oh, I don't think I've heard someone talk about that in such a long time. But yeah, I did. That's where I started at 5 years old at Sunnyside Little League at Mission Manor. That's where it really got me going.
So what was that like? What was it like the first time? What made you want to kind of pick up the glove and start playing?
I would say it would be because of all 3 of my siblings. Well, my sister she kind of started off for me by playing softball and just getting it going. But I'd say looking up to my older brothers, especially my second older brother who started playing baseball through Mission Manor. I just want to be just like him. But then I kind of found out I had to play softball, not baseball instead. So kind of might have killed it for me a little bit. But I was just as happy to be out there with my brother.
So now, when did you kind of get the feeling that, or how old were you maybe when you got the feeling that, hey, I might be able to be pretty good at this. I might not only be able to play in high school, but I might be able to play a little bit after high school?
I feel like it's all been from the confidence that people have given me. I always try to humble myself with all that I do, especially when it comes to softball, because I always strive to get better. But I'd say the confidence from my club coaches, my high school coaches, and just those around me, my teammates, always building me up and be like, hey, I think I think you got it like right after high school. Like you are good enough to be playing at the next level. I'm just like, you really think so? I mean, shoot, like, and then I don't know. I just always thought maybe just one of these days. It was always been my dream to play, but I kind of had to build up the confidence for myself too.
Now, were you an all-star every year in the league, or when did you make your first all-star team?
Oh man, let's see. I want to say I was like 10 when going into all-stars and just being on the all-star team all these past years up until I was about 13, 14. And the all-star team was literally was my whole world. It was just oh my gosh, I'm on the all-star team. It just really built up my ego at such a young age.
So now what's that like? Because obviously during the actual season part of it, all you girls are playing on different teams. How do you quickly try to then bond together when you all get together on that all-star squad?
Oh, it's fun. I mean, all those girls that I played with at Mission Manor, regardless of whose team we're on, we always make every game such a fun game by talking to each other, making these little trick plays, and going above and beyond with every game we played against each other, especially because all our coaches had such good bonds with one another and always made sure we had fun while playing as long as we could.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, you have an older sister, correct? And she played on one of the World Series teams?
Yes, she did. So that was kind of a big little shoes to step in there.
So the girls that get to that level, they the ones that played and went to World Series and all that, are they? I mean, do the younger girls look up to them as legends in that community?
Oh, for sure. Especially if you had an older sibling playing there, it's just such a big motivation. It's kind of comparing yourself to be oh my gosh, if I do this, I'm going to be just like her and we're going to go to the World Series. And it's stuff like that. It kind of builds you up, wanting to strive. Even at such a young age, I mean, that was me just being my sister did all this, I'm going to be just like her. Even though, I'm not a pitcher, but it's besides the point.
We're talking with Natalia Rivera, freshman infielder, utility player for the Pima softball team. They have started their season. So, Natalia, you've played in all 9 games. You've already hit a home run this season. Tell me about that.
I mean, it's really it's a dream come true sometimes, thinking that I'm in college and I'm doing what I can and I'm supposed to doing my job, but once in a while I get these little stuff in my favor because college ball is no joke. And so whenever stuff like that happens for me, just just a really breath of relief and all that,
What's the biggest difference, do you think, that you've learned so far between high school ball and college ball?
I mean, the biggest difference is just the level of competitiveness. Going into college, it's it really is no joke. They always say you always got to be ready for the next level. And coming in and playing here at Pima, it's they were not lying about that. And just seeing the competition I faced so far, it's just wow, I'm really building myself up to keep on being better and keep on being such a well-rounded player, against such really good teams and good coaching staffs and stuff. So I would say that's the biggest difference from high school ball, but kind of the similarity to it is just the togetherness on being on a team, between with my teammates and just with the coaches and all that.
Now, was your home run, was it over the fence or inside the park?
It might have been inside the park.
Now, you hit 2 in high school. Were those inside the park or over the fence?
Luckily, they were over the fence.
Oh,
but if you ask my coaches, they might say the wind was blowing a little extra hard that day. I wouldn't believe them.
So are you fast? I mean, it's not easy to get an inside the park, or you got some wheels?
Hey, I think I do. Long strides.
Long strides. There you go. What type of club do you guys have this year? You guys are 4-5 through the first 9 games. You've played in a couple of tournaments to kind of get things going. What have you seen through the first 9 games from this team?
I would say our chemistry is definitely building together. I'd say going through these tournaments have been really good building blocks for us and really it's like we're knocking on the door, but we're ready to like bust right through it and show these teams what we got. Maybe just like a little bit more games, but regardless, I think our team is such a well-rounded and so like good at being there for each other.
And you got another tournament coming up this weekend in El Paso. 2 games on Friday and then 2 games on Saturday. What are you kind of learning about this whole doubleheader format that you guys play at this level and how to navigate that?
At this point, it's more on making sure we're always prepared right before the games, because sometimes weather and game delays do play a factor, and like in most parts it does like can bring like your motivation or just like your energy down just a little bit because like the wait is so long. But regardless, we've been doing a really good job of always staying ready between games and before games by getting there early and making sure every single one of the players is nice and ready for the game and ready to go regardless of who's like starting or not. But we're always staying ready, always for any game we play.
What's your favorite thing about head coach Rebecca Quiros so far?
I'd say the motivation she gives me on and off the field. She's someone I can look up to and talk to regardless, and like really talk about like me and like stuff where maybe I'm like struggling with and all that, and she's someone I can look to and talk to and like express, and she can help me bounce back just like that. Because I'd say being a softball player is, has its ups and downs, but regardless, having a coach who's always there for you really does help and take you a long way.
All right, and before we let you go, Natalia, you're on the radio, so who do you want to shout out? Who in your life do you want to shout out and give some props to?
Oh, I would love to shout out my mom and my dad. They've always been my rock and really got me going through all this and all the years of Little League, all the years of club ball, and now having them being able to watch me, just like it feels like full circle, and like it just feels like my heart is like complete being able to have them watch me play like wherever I go, and just it feels awesome.
All right.
So I thank them for everything.
Say their names so people know who they are.
Shelly Rivera and Manuel Rivera.
All right, Shelly and Manuel Rivera, the parents of Natalia, who is on the Pima Aztecs softball team. This is her freshman season, and she's off to a pretty decent start. Hey, Natalia, best of luck, continued success. We look forward to watching you play over the course of the next 2 years here in your hometown.
Thank you so much, and go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs indeed. Natalia Rivera, the ladies again on the road to El Paso for some games this weekend. Their next home games are actually not until March against the Phoenix College Bears. So they'll be back home March the 2nd. They'll play a doubleheader. Actually, I'm sorry. They play at home against Cisco. No, I'm sorry. No, I'm got it all mixed up. So 2 games in El Paso against El Paso and Cisco on Friday, and then Cisco and El Paso on Saturday, then at Phoenix College after a 2-week break, and then home against Phoenix College on March the 2nd. So get out and see those ladies play this season. All right, coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, we'll have much more. We'll dive into the Super Bowl. We'll let you hear from Brock Purdy. Adia Barnes spoke today about the tryouts, which I believe are happening right now over at the McHale Center or the Richard Jefferson Gymnasium. We'll go over what's that process is all about. And later on, you'll hear from head coach Tommy Lloyd of the men's basketball team. It's DK on the Sports Tip. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio, 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together. Slowdowns on Grant Road at I-10, more slowing Speedway at I-10. There is a collision on Speedway east of I-10 at Speedway and Main Avenue. Other collisions, Golf Links and Kolb Road, Grant Road and Stone Avenue, River Road and Campbell, and also Valencia and Houghton. We do have a wind advisory till 8 tonight, rain tonight into tomorrow, and 65, cloudy now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is brought to you by Positive Coaching Alliance. Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
People who suffer from arthritis are getting real pain relief with exciting biologic therapies at QC Kinetics.
The success rate is there, and there's no better way to treat yourself when it comes to dealing with pain.
Meet Tyler Vale, co-founder of QC Kinetics, who says they can't cure arthritis, but they can treat the pain.
If you think of the tide coming in and out on the beach and what it does, it erodes the sand, right? Can't stop the tide, but eventually when the sand or the beach gets bad enough, and we backfill that beach with sand so that we get generations of enjoyment with that beach again. And the same thing happens with your knee or your shoulder or your hip or your back. We want to backfill the problems that have happened to this point. I'm not stopping the tide, so I'm not stopping the arthritis, but I want to get generations of enjoyment out of those joints again.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Learn more about how restorative biologic therapies can get you real and lasting joint pain relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 520-497-4955. That's 520-497-4955. 520-497-4955.
This season, the Cats will take on the Bruins, the Ducks, the Trojans, the Beavers, the Utes, the Buffs, the Huskies, the Cougs, the Cardinal, the Bears, and the School up north on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Arizona Complete Health means more than health insurance to me. They're my healthcare partner. We get the care we need from doctors we choose, and even earn rewards for healthy things we're already doing. And with Marketplace, Medicaid, and Medicare options, I have coverage to protect my family's health wherever life takes us.
Arizona Complete Health, a plan for life. Visit planforlifeaz.com to find coverage that works for you.
It's no contest, Tucson. You're listening to the home of the Arizona Wildcats. That's why 1290 runs this town. This is the one and only home of your Arizona Wildcats.
And you know this, man!
We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
Well, it's the first part of a new year, and some people are coming up with some pretty interesting New Year's resolutions.
I'm taking karate classes.
Hey, wait just a minute.
Let's get something really stupid tattooed on our butt.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why not make your New Year's resolution to always save up to 40% on your favorite tobacco products at Tobacco Barn? You'll not only save up to 40%, but there's also no city or state sales tax at Tobacco Barn because they're on the reservation.
I'm getting married to the first girl I meet.
Hey there, sweetheart. And you can save up to another $3 with a coupon at tobaccobarntucson.com.
Let's try parachuting. Geronimo!
So save up to 40%, save with no city or state sales tax, and save up to another $3 with a coupon at tobaccobarntucson.com. But maybe skip the skydiving. Tobacco Barn, Nogales Highway, just south of Valencia. Check tobaccobarntucson.com.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We are the sports station that Tucson turns to for all the latest news when it comes to Arizona men's basketball, along with all the play-by-play action. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
5 days to Super Bowl Sunday, and you will hear that game right here on Wildcats Radio 1290 between the Kansas City Chiefs, the champions of the American Football Conference, and the San Francisco Giants from the National Football Conference.
49ers.
49ers. Did I say Giants?
You did.
I did.
You're a baseball guy.
Baseball on the brain. Exactly. Baseball coming up. I saw Chris Barraza today over on campus out of Sarita High School, U of A pitcher who got drafted last year by the LA Angels of Anaheim, or whatever they want to call themselves nowadays, Los Angeles Angels. Chris started his career last year in single A ball, and he'll be looking forward to spring training here, which is on the horizon. All our folks from the Midwest have planned their trips. All the trips are set. We usually have a load of folks that will come out, friends and whatnot, that come out to spend time here in Arizona for spring training, and the trips are all set. I think I'm going to miss most of them, especially if the Arizona Wildcats play deep into the postseason. We'll see, but that's okay. Arizona this week on the road at the Rocky Mountain Schools. Again, though, Super Bowl Sunday coming up, and it is going to be the first Super Bowl for Arizona's own Brock Purdy out of Perry High School in Gilbert by way of Iowa State University. And this week, his head coach, Kyle Shanahan, said that he knew Brock Purdy was the best quarterback in the room back in his first training camp.
It's funny to hear Jed say that because it wasn't the smartest moment I've ever had. I mean, when an owner comes in after training camp practices and is like, hey, how's the quarterback? And what he means is the starter or the second. And you in irritation go, I don't know, but our third guy's the best. Like, that's not what he wants to hear. So that's why he remembers it very strong. But that was just more, Brock was so good right away with every rep he got. He was always the same. And he only got a couple of them. So it was easy for me to say, because in his few reps, he was the best. But if you know that for a fact, I mean, then you do what you do right away. But he was the best, but you ease that on. And every time he got a little more reps, it was the same as when he only got 2. And so when it was all said and done and he got a lot of playing time, it was like, oh, this looks exactly like what I told you when I was irritated. And he only had 3 reps. And I said, no, he's the best, but that's what was so real about Brock. That's why after his 7 games, his rookie year, even when he got hurt, we knew what we had because he'd been that way in practice every day, and it was the exact same way in the games.
That's Kyle Shanahan, the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. Andy Reid on the other side giving high praise to Mr. Purdy, calling him smart and great under pressure.
He's smart. He's great under pressure. So when the pass rush is coming, he'll stand right in there. What people don't know is that he can run. I think they saw that last game. So he makes people miss. And then he's got great accuracy. I mean, that's big. So he's got to be able to see the field, obviously.
Yeah, well, we could hardly hear Andy Reid talking there. Whose mic that was.
It's because he's so popular. There's so many people around him. It just deadens the sound.
Apparently. Purdy was asked if he holds any grudges. I mean, like you'll remember, he was Mr. Irrelevant. Was Brock Purdy? He was the last player taken in that draft. Now, Mr. Irrelevant now is a lot different. When they first started doing this, and there were like 12 rounds, and literally, like, there was no shot that Mr. Irrelevant was ever going to really make a team. But now Mr. Irrelevant is a 6th round pick or 7th round pick. And, those guys can make teams if they're good. So this, Brock Purdy is kind of, if he continues to have this success, is going to put himself in the same kind of conversation as a Tom Brady. But he was asked if he holds grudges against the quarterbacks that were drafted before him.
There were 8 quarterbacks that got drafted before you. Can you name them and what school they went to?
No, I'm not. Yeah, honestly, I'm not that kind of guy. I know a couple of the guys that got drafted before me, but I've never held a grudge for it or anything. I'm a believer that God has a plan for everybody, and I fell last for a reason. And so I haven't held any grudges against other teams. It all happened how it needed to, and I'm blessed to be part of the 49ers.
Wasn't it Gilbert Arenas that had his list, and every time the guys who got drafted ahead of him
was that did Gilbert do that?
I think so, yeah. Whenever they were on the schedule, he gave them something a little extra.
Interesting. We'll have to go back and see. I don't know who those quarterbacks are in terms of the ones that were drafted before Brock Purdy. I'll put that list together, and we'll have to come back and talk about that on either tomorrow or Friday to find out who some of those guys were that obviously are not playing on Sunday, at least not this Sunday, like he is. He'll play against Patrick Mahomes. Hopefully we can hear Patrick better than we could hear his coach, Andy Reid. But Patrick, not surprised by Brock Purdy's rise.
I've seen Brock play since he was in college and knew how good he was. I watched him play. I watched Big 12 a lot, so I watched him play a ton. And he was a winner, and he made plays happen all through his college career. And usually when you can make it happen in college, no matter what your surroundings are, and to turn around a program like he did in Iowa State, you're going to make it happen when you get your opportunity in the NFL. So I wasn't very surprised whenever he's had the success that he's had, because he's a winner and he's a guy that goes out there and competes. And I've always said, more than a football player, you got to be someone that competes. And he's one of those guys.
How about two Big 12 quarterbacks in this game Sunday? You got Patrick Mahomes from Texas Tech. You got Brock Purdy from Iowa State. And that's where we're headed. We're headed to the Big 12.
I got your quarterback list. You want
it? Let's hear it.
So, Kenny Pickett.
He's a starter.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if he's that good, but he's
Desmond
a starter.
Ritter.
The Steeler fans might argue with me about that.
Right.
Desmond Ritter.
Out of
That's
Cincinnati.
Bijan's quarterback.
Malik Willis out of Liberty.
Wait. Let's go slowly here. Malik Willis. I don't know that he's playing
Titans.
anywhere. Titans, okay.
Out of Liberty. Matt Corral out of Ole Miss. Panthers.
All right.
Bailey Zapp out of Western Kentucky.
I've heard Bailey's played. Isn't he with the Patriots?
Patriots, yeah.
Bailey Zapp has played.
Sam Howell out of North Carolina was 144th.
Yes, Sam. I think he's gotten in a game or
Commanders.
two. Yeah.
Chris Oladukin out of South Dakota State with the Steelers.
No,
Skylar Thompson, Kansas State, 247, and Brock Purdy went 262.
Skylar Thompson
out of
he at?
Kansas State. He got drafted by the Dolphins.
All right, I've not heard of him.
Looks like he got drafted by Tennessee and traded to the Dolphins.
So Sam Howell, I mean, he was the starter this year, if I'm not mistaken, with the Commanders. So he's starting games at least. And then Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, 266, you said?
That's correct. 262. Sam Howell looks like he started 18 games in his career.
All right. And the guy that Brock Purdy throws the ball to was my tight end on my fantasy team this year, George Kittle. Of course, I didn't make my Super Bowl. George Kittle is in his Super Bowl and talks about the leader that is Brock Purdy.
You know, Brock, what he does at a really, really high level, he shows up every single day. He's the same guy. He's very consistent. He has a routine. He's had a routine since he's been a rookie, and that's one of the most important things. And I think why he won the locker room over so well is I think the locker room liked him to start. But then when he got his opportunity, when he first stepped into the huddle, he was confident. He was just confident in his own ability, and it just kind of raised the level of confidence behind us. And so it was just, you just knew that the kid loved ball, and he loved to be out there with his teammates. And so that's why we believe in him.
One more quick note about that draft. You ready?
Yeah.
4 quarterbacks went in the top 100.
Okay.
Top 100.
That's
so
not a quarterback heavy draft is what you're saying.
No, Kenny Pickett went 20th. He was the first quarterback off the board. And then Desmond Ritter went 74th. So only one quarterback drafted in the first 73 picks.
Yep, that is not a quarterback heavy draft right there. But there was a Super Bowl quarterback in that mix. And his name is Brock Purdy. And he says playing in this Super Bowl is really more about playing with his teammates and not necessarily an achievement for him.
The bottom line is, like, life isn't about you. Like, that's what I believe, you know. Being a part of something bigger than yourself, you know, you get wrapped up in getting all the glory and the fame and the status. I feel like that's a shallow life, and that can, you know, fade away pretty quickly. So for me, it's, you know, obviously, yeah, we're playing the Super Bowl. I'm very honored and thankful. I want to win a championship for this organization, but more than anything, I'm, you know, trying to just serve my guys on this team well and love on them well, and the whole organization and everyone in my life. That's how I view it.
Brock Purdy out of Arizona, State 48, playing in the Super Bowl this Sunday for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, of course, the other big news is on the other side. Travis Kelce and the love of his life, well, at least we think that might be where they're headed. Taylor Swift, who apparently is going to be performing in Japan and who is going to have to race to even get to the Super Bowl before it ends. But I'm sure she, it's Taylor. She'll find a way to get there.
Wait in line at the airport. So.
But hey, you and me, it takes 5 hours. It might take 5 hours to get into that game. Now, I think by the time she gets there, probably everybody already be in the building, so they can probably expedite her pretty quickly. But it's not getting into the Super Bowl is not a quick process.
You got them flashing lights and you go into some hidden garage door that nobody even knows is there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not a very quick process. But of course, Taylor had a good night at the Grammys on Sunday in Los Angeles. She won I don't know how many she won, but she won. Album of the Year, I believe, was what she won. So, of course, Travis was asked about his girlfriend and her big accomplishment at the Grammys.
She's unbelievable. She's rewriting the history books herself. I told her I'll have to hold up my end of the bargain and come home with some hardware too.
There you go. Got to hold up your end of the bargain, buddy. If you want to get back into the house. Are they living together now?
I am not the person to ask such questions to.
What, Swifties? Are they living together?
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know.
I'm sure a lot of our listening audience, DK, is probably Swifties.
5-2. Well, speaking of that, because we know there's a lot of girl dads out there who are men that maybe listen to this show who have daughters who follow Taylor Swift. We're going to be having a promotion coming up here soon. Well, maybe not soon. I think it starts in April, actually. So a couple of months where you will have a chance to win a trip to take your daughter to see Taylor Swift perform in person. So we'll have much more information about that coming up over the course of the next few months or so. But just keep that on your radar. Put that on your calendar that DK is giving away or giving you a chance to win a trip to take your daughter to see Taylor Swift in concert. Because I know that's what you want to do. I know you want to be at the top of the dad's list. And I'm going to give you that opportunity like no one else can.
Is that like the equivalent of what a pony was 30 years ago?
Daddy, I want a pony.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with that. Yeah.
Daddy, I want tickets to see Taylor Swift.
You're the best dad ever. You got me tickets to see Tay-Tay.
You got me a pony. Daddy got me a pony. He's the best ever. All right. Cricket can't get you a pony, but I hear she's got something for you coming up later. Because that's how mysterious Cricket is. She just has stuff. She has her pockets are just filled. Like
always,
you should see her walking around this building with her pockets bulging with stuff.
Falling out all the time.
To give away. And I hear in the 5 o'clock hour, there might be something for you. But right now, she's just telling you how to get home safely on these crazy streets of Tucson.
I'm from the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center. It's your Wildcats Radio, 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Traffic signals malfunctioning Broadway, west of Tucson Boulevard at Broadway and Plummer, Houghton and I-10. Collisions that are reported at Valencia and Palo Verde, 6th Avenue north of Ajo Way, 6th Avenue in Valencia, Colbin Golf Links, and also Grant Road and Stone Avenue. And some backups. Busy traffic eastbound Grant at I-10, westbound Speedway at I-10. More backups westbound 22nd Street at I-10. Wind advisory until 8 tonight, rain tonight into tomorrow, and 65 breezy, cloudy now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio, 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Temperatures getting low, but demand remaining high? You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
DK on the Sports Tip, 3 to 6 weekdays.
Now, is that league where they got the keg at second base and you got to chug a beer before you get to third? Is that how that works?
J-Dub, that would have been a better league for me.
Oh, okay.
Don't miss out on all the fun.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care.
Our beautiful Arizona winter weather brings cooler overnight temperatures, which means some of you are now seeing your vehicle's low pressure warning light. Colder overnight temperatures can lower your tire's pressure just enough to trigger a warning light. But don't worry, many times the solution is simply adding the correct amount of air to your tires. Then get back to enjoying the fantastic winter weather. If adding the air doesn't do the trick, stop by any of our 14-area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with the low pressure warning light, we fix those too. Mention this radio offer for free installation with the purchase of any new tire pressure sensor. We'll install it in your wheel and rebalance your tires absolutely free. You'll find even more specials to get your car road trip ready at jackfurriers.com. So call ahead, make an appointment online, or just drop by. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Make sure your family is safe and warm during the cooler months. I'm Ron Arenas, the owner of Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. Heating is our middle name, and we can make sure your furnace is running efficiently. Call us at 520-440-4069 for honest heating and plumbing service to the Tucson area for over 20 years.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Attention basketball fans. Wildcats Radio 1290 and Coors Light want to send you to the men's basketball tournament in Las Vegas. We're hooking you up with 2 all-session passes for the tournament, plus $1,000 to cover travel plans, a few nights in a Vegas hotel, and maybe a little extra to spend however you want. If you want to win, check out wildcatsradio1290.com and sign up. Get all the details and official contest rules at wildcatsradio1290.com. Good luck from Coors Light and Wildcats Radio 1290.
O'Reilly. You need parts? O'Reilly Auto Parts has parts. Need them fast? We've got fast. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Product availability. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Android users, you can tune in to the home of the Wildcats by downloading our new app at the Google Play Store so you can tune in wherever you are 24 hours a day. The home of the Wildcats is everywhere. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. Don't forget to download our app, the Wildcats Radio 1290 app. In fact, text app to 520-848-1290, and I will send you a link so you can download our app, and there's all kinds of good stuff that's on the app. You can watch the video stream of this show on our app. You can send us a message. You can send me a written message on the app. You can send me an audio message on the app. You can send us a video message on the app. If you want to tape yourself talking about Arizona basketball or something of that nature and then send it to us, you can do all of that on the app. We've got all of our great interviews that we've had, past shows you can find. All of that is on the app. We had a chance yesterday to talk to Barry Peterson from Tucson Turf. He's one of the coaches of the girls flag football team that went to the national championships down in Florida. If you missed that interview yesterday, you can get that interview on our app. We've got you covered like no other organization in town. If you go to the news page on our app, we've got stories on the Wildcats, the Aztecs, the Cardinals, the Suns, the Coyotes. The Suns play tonight, back at home after a 4-3 road trip. Not bad. 7 games on the road, and they finished above 500. We've got Diamondbacks information on there. We've got all your leagues. We've even got, well, actually, we don't yet. I didn't put up the NASCAR one yet. I will get the NASCAR link up there. So we'll have all your NASCAR information as we get closer to the Daytona 500. How about Kurt Busch was in the house the other night at Arizona basketball?
It's a show.
Yeah, one-time student. I don't know if we can call him a grad because I don't know if he actually graduated, but one-time student at the University of Arizona. Kurt Busch was sitting courtside at the game the other night. Good to see him in the house.
I just see Tito. That's all I see.
Tito was not. I did not see Tito Sunday there. I've seen him in pretty much every other game, but I did not see him in the seat where he normally sits.
He seems very happy
Sunday.
in his retirement.
I hope he is.
Me
I
too.
hope he is. We enjoyed having him for the years that we had him managing our Indians. But yeah, it's going to be good for him to dial back and enjoy life now. I'm sure. I think Tito. I don't think we've seen the last of him in baseball. I don't know if he'll manage again, but I would not be surprised if he is involved in the game in some sort as we move forward down the line in the coming years. I would definitely hope to see that happen because he's really good for the game. Is Terry Francona. All right, 520-848-1290. So we had a chance to talk to Adia Barnes today, and we mentioned that the tryout is, I believe, happening right now. She said it was going to be before the radio show, which is in 1 hour. So it's obviously happening right now. One of the things she said on Sunday after the game was that they'd gotten inquiries from like 30-year-old women wanting to come back and play. So I had to ask Adia today, well, how exactly would that work in terms of a 30-year-old woman coming back to try to play for Arizona? What would be the process in that?
When you were talking about the tryouts the other day, you mentioned that you'd gotten 30-year-olds who had applied, or Lauren had gotten 30. I mean, is that realistic? What would be the process for that?
Well, I think she's just gotten so many emails. I think it's like 240 or something. But like, I think people don't understand like when your clock starts and stops. So you only have a certain amount of time. So even if you played 1 year of college, you can't go back at like 30 and play 3 more. So she's just got a lot of interesting emails.
Yeah. You can't just come out of your 30s and play now, especially if you've played before. Like, so there's a lot of instances, I'm sure, where women maybe played a year and then decided not to play. You can't just come by. I think you can if you've never played before. I think you could, and you maybe didn't even graduate from college. It would be interesting to kind of have somebody on, maybe from compliance, to kind of walk us through exactly what all of that would entail. But she got into some more about the process of how this whole tryout was going to take place.
Signed like 50 pages of clearance. So in order to try out, you have to like go through a physical, you have to go through the eligibility, so you have to pay. So it's not like, I mean, it's going to cost probably like $150. You don't just go to, I didn't know it was that expensive. I thought you just kind of try out, and if you make it, you do that. But so it's people that are pretty serious because you're going to get the physical, you have to register through the eligibility center if you're not in it, and it's like costs money, and you have to like go get seen. So it's like, it's not just show up and try out. So like it's a whole process, and then it's today actually, before the radio show, and we'll kind of evaluate and see, and if we get a couple people, great. If we don't, it's not the end of the world. Like, but it's funny. I wanted to add some managers because we have I don't make the NCAA rules, and sometimes they're just interesting, but ideally for us, like as a coach, and I understand why you can't do this, but I would rather add like a manager that played high school basketball. She's a manager because she loves to be around basketball. So I wanted to add a couple managers, but found out that rule changed. Because it would have been way easier for me just to suit a couple up. They're in practice. They know our drills because they're managers. So, like, I already know they're good people, or else they wouldn't be a manager. They wouldn't be on scholarship with us. But you can't do it. You can't. Once they became a manager, they forfeit their eligibility. And I understand why, but, that was a newer rule. I was like, oh, that would be perfect. But then, because I would have added 3 of them. They all played like 4 years of high school, and some competed like in another sport in college. One of our players, Destiny, she swam. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. And they're like, no. I was like, oh, man. I was like, is there a waiver for that? No, Kristen's like, no, there's no waiver. But I'm hoping like someone that played or, that played with one of our players at a high school happened to come here. So I'm hoping someone like that. But then there's a lot of research to make sure they're the right fit. Like, we have a good group that loves each other right now, that has great chemistry and a great culture. And this group I want to keep, that I'm going to build on, like that I'm invested in. I'm not. When I sign kids out of the program, it's not to replace these kids, it's to add and to get better. So I'm very conscious and I'm deliberate about that and like really focusing on that. So I want to make sure who I add is, it's going to be not with the expectation of playing right away. It's going to be like being a good teammate, adding to practice, being vocal, adding, not just being there and not taking away. So if it's not that and it doesn't look right, it's not going to happen, and we'll risk just playing with 7. But I think I've done a good job of managing like our loads right now. We haven't had injuries, and that's been hard. I'm looking every day, tracking like their distance, their loads with Chris and Bart, and they've done a really good job of helping. So we know the load's higher. They had a really hard weekend. It's super light. It might be one day getting up and down a little bit, but it's been light. So now as a coach, learning how to balance, okay, we're still getting better on some technical stuff and doing that, and that's hard. Because normally I like to work on that live and practice, like get up and down. But just haven't been able to do that, so it's making me better as a coach. And hopefully I'll never have to do it again. But, like maneuvering and figuring it out, like it's been good. So I think it's a challenge. I like challenges. Like, I like the hard stuff.
Well, there's no question that Adia Barnes likes a challenge. That's for sure. So managers get scholarships now? Wow, I wish they had that around when I was a basketball manager in college. Man, a scholar. And I was wondering, like, is that the reason you have to forfit your eligibility because you're getting a scholarship?
It has to be connected, right?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. I guess if we're giving you free money, then you can't go out and play. But because I see her point there, it's like, yeah, if you had managers, I mean, it's kind of like when we were like a lot, like just like what Ryan Hansen was talking about when we had him on before. Like he would sometimes get in there and run some drills. When needed, because they needed an extra body of somebody that could play at that particular time. Managers are a perfect fit for that. There's just so many rules nowadays. It's crazy.
I used to have
many rules there
practice against Dennehy.
Dennehy. Oh yes, because he was the coach over at Amphi.
He was good friends with Coach Peabody at the time, so we didn't have enough guys, especially after practice when we would run. Yeah, Tom Dennehy was heavily involved.
Absolutely. All right, in terms of Kaylin Gilbert, who has missed 3 straight games now for the Arizona Wildcats, I asked Adia about that and what Kaylin's status is heading into this road trip to Los Angeles.
What update can you give us on Kaylin's availability for this weekend?
She's not available right now, but she could be. It depends on this week because we have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So if she's available to play, like she'll travel and play. If she's not, she won't.
You had mentioned there's a level of contact your players have to
just
to go
in general.
through?
Just in general. So like any kind of like anytime you're out for a period, like if you're out on a break, you can't like come back and go like full contact. So anytime you're out, there's a protocol coming back. If you're out for medical, if you're out for mental, if you're out you had to leave for a family emergency, you can't just come back because of injuries and the risk. So you come back at a certain percentage. So if you're in concussion protocol, you have to come back and you have to have non-contact days. Then you have to have contact days, which will clear you for a game. Like you can't just come back and you've been non-contact for 2 weeks and play because you risk, and it's also a liability thing and it's the safety of a student athlete. So for being out, because she's been out now like over 2 weeks, so that's a long time. She's been doing workouts, but she's got to be in full contact, like healthy, in full contact practices before she can play. But she's like, she's cleared to do that.
And what does full contact look like when you only have 7 players and
Yeah,
you're not
so-
really practicing at the level that a normal team
A
would be?
regular practice. So full contact would just be a regular practice. So Montea's in non-contact now. So non-contact is like 5-on-0. It's full court, review of plays. Contact is when there's a defender on you. It's live. Now, if you're going through like a walkthrough, they can do that. But if you're going through live play where someone can hit you or stuff like that, so that's contact. So it's just a full practice. And also it's like it's what a player is willing to do. So like if maybe you're cleared medically, but if you're not ready or you still feel like you're not ready, that's a choice. I'm not going to ever force someone. I'm not going to say, oh, you're ready, because you have to be ready mentally and physically to do it, even if you're cleared. So I think it's just, so it's going to be how she feels and participation.
And I went on and I asked, Adia later on in the press conference kind of alluded to the fact that she wasn't even sure if Kaylin would travel with the team. Obviously, that's a decision because I would imagine, well, they don't play till Friday, so they don't fly out till Thursday. So they still have about 48 hours to make that decision on whether she'll even accompany the team to Los Angeles this weekend for the games against UCLA and USC. So that'll remain to be seen, but we will find out if anybody gets signed out of the tryout, which is happening as we speak right now over on campus. I wish I could be a fly on the wall in that building right now to see how that's going.
What was the Eagles movie tryouts?
The Eagles.
Yeah, because there was the guy who made special teams, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then they made a movie about it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of this.
You're absolutely right. He was grew up in Philly.
Yep. Yeah, local kid.
Yeah, I remember the movie. I just do not remember that guy's name. So, all right, early in the hour, we were talking about the Super Bowl, and one of the Arizona connections is the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, Brock Purdy, out of Gilbert Perry High School, the last pick of the draft in 2022, Mr. Irrelevant. How many quarterbacks, J-Dub, were taking? 8 in front of him?
I'd have to look it up again. Yeah, something like that.
8 quarterbacks were taking in front of him, but he is one of the last 2 standing this weekend for the Super Bowl. Tucson, as we've mentioned all week, has a couple of connections in this game. You've got Matt Bushman for the second straight year on the practice squad on the Kansas City Chiefs side of it. And you've got Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles, reserve linebacker, special teams extraordinaire for the San Francisco 49ers. He will actually be playing in the game on Sunday. And coming up next, we're going to talk to his uncle, Harold Coleman, who knows a little bit about football in these parts here in Tucson. He has been a high school coach here. He has been a youth football coach here. His kids have played at a high level here on the prep side of it. And we will chat about his nephew and the road that he has taken to get to the football game's highest stage. It is DK on the Sports Tip with J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. Cricket gets you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
I'm from the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, Wildcats Radio, 1290 Traffic and Weather together. With collisions reported, Valencia and 6th Avenue. 6th Avenue north of Ajo Way. Valencia and Palo Verde, heads up traffic signals malfunctioning. Houghton at I-10. Also busy traffic southbound La Cholla at Ajo. Mission and Ajo, westbound on 22nd at I-10, westbound Speedway at I-10, eastbound Grant Road at I-10, more slowing, eastbound Grant Road at Columbus. Wind advisory until 8 tonight, rain this evening into tomorrow, and 64. Breezy, cloudy now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio, 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Big O Tires. Right now at Big O Tires, get up to $160 in rebate savings on 4 select in-stock Michelin tires with installation purchase. See store for details. Offer ends February 19th. So hurry into Big O Tires, the team you trust.
This just in, Goodfellas AC is matching up to $2,000 on federal tax credit.
Whoa, seriously? This is unbelievable. I gotta call Floyd at Goodfellas.
Hello, Goodfellas. Floyd speaking.
Is it true about the $2,000?
It sure is. Homeowners like you may qualify for a 30% federal tax credit up to $2,000 on qualifying heat pumps. And Goodfellas will match the tax credit dollar for dollar up to $2,000. Good service, good prices, Goodfellas.
Broadway in Tucson presents the Rockin' 2023-2024 season featuring 8 blockbuster productions including Disney's Aladdin, The Book of Mormon, Hairspray, and Chicago. Enjoy the Southern Arizona musical premieres premieres of Tina, the Tina Turner musical, Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Time of the Temptations, MJ the Musical, and Mrs. Doubtfire. Secure your choice season tickets today and get the ultimate in flexibility and the lowest prices all season. Visit BroadwayandTucson.com and secure your season tickets today.
At Goldberg and Osborne, we fight. We fight for accident victims, injured workers, abused seniors, those harmed by dogs, negligence, or malpractice. We fight the government and big corporations. And most importantly, we fight the insurance companies. We've been fighting for Arizonans since 1989. We go to court, we fight, and we win. Call Goldberg and Osborne and let the Eagle fight for you. Now accepting work injury cases.
Go Wildcats! As a new season starts, the Tucson Police Department bears down with the Tucson community. We are looking to build our team, and we need you. Interested in joining our starting lineup? Visit jointucsonpd.org. Join our team and score a great career. From our commissioned officers to our professional staff, the Tucson Police Department proudly stands behind the Arizona Wildcats. Bear down and apply today at jointucsonpd.org.
Southern Arizona Radiology Associates have been dedicated to providing superior images and quality care for the last 35 years. They're the one you trust when you need an X-ray, CT scan, ultrasound, mammogram, or MRI. They have locations in Tucson, Green Valley, and Sierra Vista. Ask your doctor to refer you to Southern Arizona Radiology Associates today. That's Southern Arizona Radiology Associates. Visit their website at sararadiology.com or call 520-335-6849 for more information.
Make sure you download or update the Wildcats Radio 1290 app. We've got the entire state covered like no other sports radio station in Southern Arizona. Plus, when you have the app, you can cover U of A sports with Wildcats Radio 1290 anywhere and everywhere you go and out of town, too. The mountains, the beach, working out, or maybe even...
Oh, no. Turn that off.
Download or update the Wildcats Radio 1290 app today and never miss a moment of sports analysis. Well, maybe an occasional moment. Wildcats Radio 1290.
I don't think people understand how much cool air escapes into their walls and attic.
Or how much extra that costs you every month.
If only there was a way to explain how Alaskan AC keeps that from happening. It's kind of like that.
Did you seriously just aeroseal Gary's mouth?
Notice how almost no air is getting through?
True.
You're right, Gary. Only Alaskan AC includes AeroSeal with every AC system we sell. It keeps the cool in your home, not in your walls and attic.
He said all that? What do you say now?
You're probably paying 20 to 50% more than you have to. You'll see savings from your new AeroSeal included systems the very first year.
I had no idea Gary knew so much about AeroSeal.
It's a big part of how we customize heating and air systems so people are comfortable in every room.
I gotta hand it to you, Gary. You know how to make a good point.
A regular pro at this.
Oh, that's right.
Forgot the most important part.
AeroSeal, included with every system at Alaskan AC.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. 520-848-1290. We always love to have in-studio guests here, and we are pleased to be joined by Harold Coleman joining us here. Harold Coleman is a longtime football coach here in Southern Arizona, both on the youth side and on the high school side. Coached at Santa Rita High School. I remember when I was just starting to get involved with high school coverage. Well over 10 years ago. He is the uncle of Demetrius Flanagan Fowles, who's going to be playing in the Super Bowl on Sunday. First of all, Harold, welcome into studio here. Glad to have you. And just you were at the NFC Championship game a few weeks ago.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here. But yeah, it was great. It was a fun experience. It was real fun.
So let's go back to, you moved here in 1994. let's go back to Demetrius and when he started playing football, and I'm sure you might have been one of his first coaches.
Okay, so Demetrius' journey, right?
Yeah.
So we started in 2003, I want to say. 2003, 2004, took him out to the Falcons youth football program. Didn't really want to do it at first. You know what I mean? He didn't really want to do it, but you know what I mean? He came to love the game, did a lot, played from that year all the way up, you know, going through the ranks, flag, Mighty Might at the time, junior Pee-wee, so on and so forth. Then went over to Tucson High, and I was his coach the whole time, all the way. My bad, but all the way up to his junior year when they didn't allow him to play his senior year, of course.
Right.
When he transferred over to Mountain View, he didn't get to play his his senior year, but yeah, so that's how he got into football.
So when did you get the feeling that he actually started liking the game and thought maybe it was something that could take him to a higher level, maybe even to first take him to high school where he could play there, and then maybe even be able to take him past that?
So funny story, one of my closest friends, Reggie Walker, we coaching Demetrius was probably his freshman year of high school. Reggie was the freshman coach. I'm like, man, I want him on varsity. Reggie like, nah, he ain't ready. I'm like, yeah, man, let's put him on varsity. So we go, I forgot, we was at Santa Rita. We go and play. I forgot who we play. It was a Thursday night. Reggie was like, nah, I told you he wasn't ready. I was like, nah, watch. So Friday night we play Tucson High, I believe it was. Demetrius had a tremendous game. And I was like, I told you he's ready. Reggie was like, man, wait a minute. Thursday he give me nothing, but Friday night he come out here and show out. What is this? So that's like his freshman year. It was like, okay, the light came on. And it was like, okay, yeah, he can do some things. So.
What did you like most about his skill set? I think mostly I remember him playing mostly as a defensive player, but I'm sure he probably played some offense as well. But what did you like about his skill set?
He was a hard worker. I mean, like he was. I mean, he's an athlete, so he could do pretty much anything on the field. But what carried him is that he's gonna outwork anybody on the field. You might be better than him at running routes, but he's gonna bust his tail to make sure he's right there with you. And I think that's come from playing with. Falcons at that time was blessed with some great athletes. Like, we had some great athletes, and he grew up with those guys, like Cam Denson, for example, right? So to keep up with Cam, I got to do what I need to do. I might not be the athlete Cam is, but I have to work harder to get right there. And that's what we was teaching them. That's what we preached to them. You don't have to be the best on the field. You just got to outwork the best on the field. So, you know what I mean? So those things was like ingrained in him. Also, playing with his brother and his cousin, you know what I mean? So those guys made each other better. So what I really, truly enjoyed, and I never told Demetrius this, one of my brothers came down here from Chicago. We out at Quincy Douglas Park, running routes, trying to get them ready, running 300s, doing all kinds of things. And my brother says to me, he sees Demetrius, he says to me, you know, that one right there, he gonna end up in the NFL.
Wow.
And he was, I don't even think he was in a high school at this time. You know what I mean? Like I said, we used to do all kinds of off-season work. My brother told me that. I was like, what? Nah. You know? And that was my thing. Like, nah. And behold, there it is. And that was the one.
So what did he tell you why he thought that? Why he thought Demetrius?
Because his work ethic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was like, look, he don't say anything. He just work. You know what I mean? You know how kids be like, man, we got to do this again. We got to do that. Demetrius never said a word.
Yeah.
Never said a word.
Harold Coleman joining us. He is the uncle of Demetrius Flanagan Fowles, who's going to be playing in Super Bowl 58 on Sunday for the San Francisco 49ers, longtime football coach here in Southern Arizona. Then he gets to the University of Arizona. And I always, what I always liked about him, he was always very solid. He never made a lot of mistakes. I don't know that I'm a great judge of talent. I don't know that I saw him being a player. I thought he might be able to, because of his size, to play at the next level. Was there a time as his college career started to go on that you thought, okay, maybe my brother's right. Maybe he does have that shot to play in the National Football League?
Well, it came as a conversation between me and my son, Bryce, actually. We sitting up there, and he was like, Dad, Demetrius might, he gonna make it. I was like, nah, I'm pretty much like, yo, like, I mean, he's pretty solid, but I don't see that next level right now. I don't see it. But about his junior year, me and Bryce, like I said, Bryce and I was sitting around talking. He was like, yeah, Dad, check out the next game. So, you know what I mean? That's what I did. I just looked at Demetrius and Demetrius only. I'm at the game, but I'm focusing on and exactly what you just said. He was a kid that didn't make mistakes. Like, you ain't just finna just constantly beat me. You know what I mean? So that's, but I never, even when the day of the draft, we had the draft party, and he's like, I've been talking to this, and we talked to some agents. We did that. We went through that together, and he was like, I think I'm gonna get a shot. And I was like, man, let's do what we can to make sure it happens, right? So, but me sitting back, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this might really, really happen. But for just that ideal moment and say, okay, yeah, it's gonna happen, I never had that moment until he called me and said, I made the practice squad.
Wow.
So,
what was that first training camp like for him?
Hard work and trying to make it. Like, all I had to do what I need to do to make this team. So, like, you know what I mean? This time, he's actually on the 53-man active roster for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But his very first year, he was on the practice squad when the 49ers went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So, but like I said, I never had that. Okay, yeah, this is it. We know he got it. You know what I mean? So, still to this day, like, his work ethic is like, man, I got to do what I need to do to make it. You know what I mean? So.
Harold Coleman joining us, the uncle of Demetrius Flanagan Fowles, going to be playing in the Super Bowl on Sunday for the San Francisco 49ers. Again, when you talk about that Falcons organization, I mean, Bijan started with the Falcons.
Yes.
I believe Levi played with the Falcons.
No,
Levi
played with the Redskins.
Oh, he was with the Redskins.
Yeah,
okay.
So, but Levi, well, all of these guys, everybody we talking about, Bijan, Levi, Demetrius, Stan, all of these guys was either they was with the Falcons or they ran track for the Titans, Titan Track Club.
Okay.
Every last one of them. So, and that's like, and then for as Levi was at Tucson High, and we started the 7-on-7 Tucson Showtime, and all of those guys played for us. So that's where. You know what I mean? So, like, I've been in Levi corner for a while, too, even when he was a young guy. So, but, yeah.
What's that like for you to see these young men, be able to rise up and play on the game's grandest stages?
It's one of those things where you're super proud to say, man, I knew that young man. You know what I mean? So, whatever his accomplishments are, they, no doubt, their accomplishments. But as a coach, you would like to say, like, I instill something in that guy, whatever that something is. You know what I mean? If it's never giving up, if it's work hard at your craft, if it's just, man, just being a shoulder or somebody to call every now and then. You know what I mean? Because these guys have issues too, right? You know what I mean? So, and there's some things that they have to fight through, but it's just being almost like a proud father. You know? So when we see them do well, we, you know what I mean, stick our chests out. Just, you know what I mean? We stick our chests out, and we proud to say, yeah, he was with us. He was part of us. So.
And we, like we were talking about, Brock obviously is from the Valley, and then there's a lot more, talent that's up there in the Valley, and maybe sometimes Tucson gets a bad rap for the football that we play down here, but it shows that there are kids who can come through our systems and get to the game's highest stage.
And that's what I preach to these kids still to this day. Still to this day. I preach to our kids. Phoenix have more, but they don't have better. So it's a difference. Your talent is just as good or better than what their talents are. You just got to believe it yourself. If you believe in yourself and somebody's in your corner pushing that, you'll do okay. You'll be all right. So that's what we try to instill in all our kids here in the valley, down right in the Outlet Valley, right here in Tucson. That we all right. We got just as much talent, you know what I mean, as anywhere else.
So now when you look at Demetrius now, what do you see out there in the roles that he's playing for San Francisco?
Little surprised that he moved down the linebacker.
Right? Exactly. I was like, wow.
So, I always seen safety, you know what I mean? But when he moved down to that linebacker spot, but I see, I'm going to go back to it and I'm going to keep going to it. I see a guy that's going to give you everything he had and make the play for you. He going to make plays. I mean, of course, they all miss plays, but he's going to be there for you. He's not going to just constantly get beat. And I just see a young man that's going to say, Coach, you can count on me. I got your back. So that's what I see every time I go to the game.
So how many people we got going up to Las Vegas?
Well, not a lot of us. not a lot of us. Probably, I mean, he got some family coming from California, of course. So probably, I would say, roughly 6 or 7, not many.
So how many times have you seen him play in the NFL? How many in person?
I'd have been to about, let's see, this season I've been to like 4 games.
Okay.
Last season I think I went to only 2. Season before that, I probably made about 8 games. A lot of the times, the reason I don't go to the games is because I'm messing with the Falcons on Saturdays. So I'm trying to make sure I do as much as I can with those guys. Don't want parents saying, "Oh, Coach, you ain't never here." So just the commitment to that.
So now, what's the future of Tucson youth football? Because I've been hearing rumors that the organization might be breaking up as we know it. What's the future?
So with the Tucson youth football is not going anywhere.
Okay.
A lot of associations have moved to Desert, Sonora, something like that. I might mess the name up, but there's another charter that's been formed, and it's out of Sonora. So a lot of our teams have joined that charter. But we all part of the same national body, which is AYF.
Right.
So it's a lot of misinformation being told to parents and people getting on the internet saying all kinds of stuff that's not close to the truth. But that's what it is. So they just formed another charter, and those guys are moving to that side. So right now, Tucson Youth Football, we have about 6 to 7 associations. But it ain't going nowhere.
Okay.
Just let everybody know Tucson Youth Football is not going anywhere.
Real quick, Harold, you coached at Santa Rita High School. You got there after Jeff Skurin. Are you surprised what's happened with Santa Rita and Palo Verde and some of those schools in TUSD on the east side of town that have fallen off so hard on the football side?
I am super surprised. I mean, I'm shocked. Like when I moved here, just for example, I moved here in '94. I was coaching at Tucson High with Mayfield, the son Mayfield.
Right. Todd.
Yes, Todd was the head varsity coach, and I was coaching with my father-in-law, which is Curtis Flanagan. So I coached with him for those years, and I was like, okay, football is okay. It's all right. So I went through the ranks. Then I ended up going over to Amfi for a couple of years, and when I got my shot to be a head coach, I was like, okay, we can develop things. But at this time, I guess the enrollment for TUSD was falling so greatly. So, and it became, I'm not going to go to this school because there's only 400 kids over there. I'm not going to go to this school because they dropping down to Division II. I'm not going to. So now you at a point where you don't get any athletes coming out. You got kids walking around campus, but they ain't playing football. They ain't actually any sports. So, and with the enrollment being so small at some of these schools, my point, I mean, just my opinion. I think we need to combine some of them. So we can get a better quality of talent that's playing together. So when you got 2 good athletes on Rincon 5 on Palo Verde, 1 on Santa Rita, and 25 at Saguaro. That's what you get. Non-competitive games.
Has Demetrius told you how they plan to stop Patrick Mahomes?
A lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. But it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun, though, to watch that young man play in the Super Bowl on Sunday. Harold, I appreciate you stopping by and joining us, and y'all have a safe trip up there and enjoy yourselves.
Thank you. Thank you for having me over. Appreciate it.
Harold Coleman, he is the uncle of Demetrius Flanagan Fowles. He is a longtime football coach here in Southern Arizona. We've got a whole lot more coming up for you. About a half an hour to go, taking you up to the Adia Barnes Show at 5:30 tonight. We'll hear from Tommy Lloyd in the 5 o'clock hour. He spoke to the media today. It is DK on the Sports Tip, along with J.W. Madden and Cricket. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. Crashes clearing Aviation and Ritchie Boulevard and Aviation Parkway, Valencia and Palo Verde, also 6th Avenue north of Ajo Way. Busy traffic on southbound La Cholla at Ajo, Mission and Ajo, also busy, and some slowing on northbound 6th Avenue at I-10. And we do have a wind advisory in effect until 8 tonight, rain tonight into tomorrow, and 63 breezy now. And I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Big O Tires. Right now at Big O Tires, get up to $160 in rebate savings on 4 select in-stock Michelin tires with installation purchase. See store for details. Offer ends February 19th. So hurry into Big O Tires, the team you trust.
This is Jim Rome with your Rome Report. You know how to tell that it's NBA trade deadline season? Because it's also LeBron passive-aggressive season. And you can't have an NBA trade deadline without LeCap going passive-aggressive. You can even say that this year he's been aggressively passive-aggressive. Whether it's that mysterious hourglass that he blasted out in a late-night ex-post and then refused to explain, or the Knicks towel that he draped all over himself for his nationally televised postgame interview at MSG on Saturday night, the message is pretty clear. Dude wants more help. Then again, that's not really saying all that much, since the dude always wants more help, which is more than a little tired, because we all know that the dude had a huge hand in picking these players that inevitably are never good enough. He is Le GM after all. But whatever you do, don't ask Le GM about his Le GMing. But hey, on the bright side, the Lakers did put together their longest winning streak since they ripped the Ears Invitational back in December.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure that you'll get your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson Hewitt!
And Jackson Hewitt also guarantees the accuracy of your return for life. So don't just sit there. For your biggest refund guaranteed, walk into a Jackson Hewitt today and dance out Jackson Hewitt! Yeah!
O'Reilly!
You need parts? O'Reilly Auto Parts has parts. Need them fast? We've got fast. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Product availability. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Wildcats play here. This is your home of Arizona Wildcats football, men's basketball, and baseball. This is the home of the Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Welcome to Love Those Savings, brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Let's meet our contestants. Contestant number 1 is Equinox. Contestant 2 is Silverado. And our newest contestant number 3, he's T-Railblazer.
They're all so good looking and affordable. I can't believe I can only take one of them home.
Check us out at O'Reilly.com. Call us at 747-8000 or love those savings in person on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Find new roads at O'Reilly Chevrolet.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Sunday, the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs meet in Super Bowl 58. Hi, this is Scott Graham. Join me and the rest of our Westwood One crew from Las Vegas for all the action. The Chiefs are trying to defend their title and win a third Lombardi trophy in the last 5 seasons. But the Niners are hoping to avenge their loss in Super Bowl 54. If it's Super Bowl 58, it's right here.
Coach Tommy Lloyd here. Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is the ultimate team when it comes to your home's comfort.
Thinking about replacing your heating and air system? It's February at Right Way.
These are some of the slowest months of the year. We have equipment in stock and our crews are available.
And to spark business, we're including an 80% furnace absolutely free with the purchase of an air conditioning system.
And if that's not enough, we'll include a Wi-Fi thermostat, 10-year parts and labor warranty, plus we have 0 interest financing available.
Call or text 520-200-2422 or visit rightwayac.com.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We are the sports station that Tucson turns to for all the latest news when it comes to Arizona men's basketball, along with all the play-by-play action. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
Final half hour of the show on this Tuesday, a shortened Tuesday as always. We've got Adia Barnes coming up at 5:30. Hopefully we'll hear some more from Adia and Derek about the open tryouts that I would imagine are now concluding on the campus to see if Adia can find some extra talent to add to her roster.
Adia's Laugh Factory.
She had mentioned last Thursday at her press conference last Thursday that she had a pair of candidates who had played with 2 of the women on her team, a high school teammate of Jada Williams from San Diego and a high school teammate of Skylar Jones from Chicago. So I would imagine that those 2 are probably going to be, if she keeps mentioning the number 2, like if she could get 2 players out of this process, and I would imagine that those are probably the 2 favorites because they have played a little college or played a little high school basketball and played it probably at a high level. Again, it's crazy to think that you've got a couple of teammates of your current players that are actually in college here at the same time, but that's a benefit, and maybe those 2 young ladies will be the 2 new members of the team.
I mean, the difference between winter weather in Chicago and Tucson, I think, says it all.
There you go. Come on out. It's great here. It was a little windy out there today. A little windy. Thought I might get blown over when I was over on campus, but luckily that did not happen. Hey, want to send out a happy birthday today. Today is the 69th birthday of one Eric Money, Arizona basketball class of 1974. Congratulations and happy birthday to Eric Money. I posted about this on my Twitter account. Head on over there if you want to see that post not my Twitter account. I posted about it on our station Twitter account, and that is Wildcats Radio 1290, or at Wildcats 1290, I should say, at Wildcats 1290. So head on over there. Eric Money, among the things he did, his first collegiate game at the University of Arizona.
27 assists.
37 points.
Yeah.
37 points in his first college game. That was also the first game that Coach Snowden coached here at the University of Arizona, because, of course, Coach Snowden brought in all those young men from the Detroit area, the Kiddie Corps, exactly. And Eric Money on opening night against Cal State Bakersfield goes out and scores 37 points.
That's good.
Yeah, imagine that. Your new coach, first black coach in a major conference, I'm sure all eyes were wondering, okay, what's this going to be? You bring in all these kids from the Midwest, and the first guy goes out there and scores, a freshman, true freshman, playing first game, goes out there and scores 37 points. I think a whole lot of people probably did a deep sigh of relief after that night.
Yeah, they were good. I mean, the Kitty Corps is a big I mean, I wasn't around for all that, but I did hear so many stories because my dad was one of those guys in Bear Down Gym for that whole time. My dad was friends with Coach Snowden, and I heard so many stories about the buzz on campus and, you know, what that led to, the building of McHale.
Yeah.
Obviously, Coach Olson taking that and running with it. But, yeah, Kitty Corps has so much to do with the prestige that Arizona has today. It all kind of started in that era.
That game was played at Bear Down Gymnasium in front of 3,200 fans that night. Eric Money out of Detroit's Kettering High School scored 37 points. And an era of Arizona basketball was born. I've heard stories that they actually, because of course it was sold out, you can only get 3,000 people, that they had like live streams of it to different places on campus. I think there was the Union, had a watch party or something where folks could go and watch it that particular night. He would go on, Eric Money, to have 5 30-point games during his career. We've been talking, that's been a topic of conversation due to the fact that Caleb Love 2 weeks ago scored 36 points in a game against the Oregon Ducks. Well, Eric Money had only played 2 years here, had 5 30-point games, and is 6th all-time in scoring average for the Arizona Wildcats, averaging 19 points per game, and scored 37 in the first game of his college career. So happy birthday. Happy 69th birthday to Eric Money. We'll have to get, I think I got a chance to meet Eric a few years back when his teammate Bob Elliott wrote the book.
Right.
Tucson, a basketball town, and Eric came in and they did an event outside of McHale, and I had a chance to chat with both of them about that. So we'll have to see if we can. I'm gonna get with Bill or Bob and get him on the show this month, and maybe for one of the pregame shows, and then we'll see if we can also maybe get Eric Money on the show before the season is out to talk about his legendary performance as a true freshman here at the University of Arizona. Were you there that night? I know J-Dub was not there that night.
I wasn't born that night, no.
No. You were born in what, 75?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a few years before you.
Yep.
But if you were there that night, if you were one of those 3,200 people at Bear Down Gym the night that Eric Money debuted and scored 37 points in a win over Cal State Bakersfield, I want to hear from you. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You know, we haven't been doing a good job of reviewing our questions of the day, wrapping those up. So I want to go back to the one from last week since we're on Arizona basketball, and that was an Arizona basketball question. And that was the one that, again, J-Dub put out there. It was who has the best shooting form on the Arizona Wildcats. I worded it as who's the best pure shooter on the Arizona Wildcats. And it ended up being 56% said Caleb Love. No surprise that Caleb Love was the winner of that particular poll. It evened up with the other three gentlemen we included after that. It went 14% for Kylan Boswell. I'm sorry, 17% for Paulius Morauskas, 14% for Kylan Boswell, and 13% for Pella Larson. So Paulius Morauskas of the other three had the most number of votes. But
he's got a really nice stroke. It's
gonna be interesting to kind of watch him next year. I think they could very well have a team like that Stanford team, only better, bigs that can shoot 3-pointers like
Yeah.
Morauskas and Henry Vezar.
Yeah, Vezar can step out to 20 feet. Yeah,
And they got some bigs that can shoot.
it'll be
moving forward.
It'll maybe flip that script because you don't other than the push shot, you don't expect Ballo maybe to step out past 8 feet. But those two guys you just mentioned certainly capable of scoring from outside.
Let's hear from Evan real quick. You're on Wildcats Radio 1290, DK on the Sports Tip.
There's some interesting things about that first game. It was Snowden's first game. It was Eric Money's first game. One of the most interesting things about that game is that was the first year that freshmen were allowed to play varsity.
Oh, yeah.
In the past, yeah. So not only did, Money score 38 points in his first game, but it was the first time that freshmen were allowed to play. And I was like 13 years old at the time, and my dad's sitting next to me just going bananas. It's like, I can't believe this guy is scoring this many points, and he's a freshman. And I'm there, well, Daddy's 18 years old. What's the big deal? It's like, no, you don't understand. This is the first year. This is the first game that freshmen are allowed to play varsity in college athletics. This is just extraordinary. And at one point, I think Coach Snowden actually had 5 freshmen in the game at the same time. So he just really single-handedly revolutionized Arizona basketball. That not only was he giving these young guys a chance to play, but they were playing a lot and they were doing well. Money's teammate, Conneal Norman, I think has the highest 2-year scoring average in the history of the U of A. He averaged 24 points a game, and that was not, he was really lucky his freshman year or really lucky his sophomore year. He had the same 24 points a game scoring average his freshman and his sophomore year before he went to the NBA. So he just had an extraordinary amount of talent. Al Fleming as a freshman averaged a double-double as a freshman. So it's really an extraordinary team.
Popcorn still, Evan has the highest scoring average in program history by a full 4 points.
Yep. Not even close to anybody. You're absolutely right about that. Yeah.
Hey, Evan, we appreciate your call. Thanks for that great information, that great story.
Sure, you're very welcome.
I'd forgotten, freshman teams back in the day. They had freshman teams. Imagine that. Imagine Eric Money having been buried on the freshman team.
My favorite story ever was the freshman year of Lou Alcindor.
Yeah.
And that freshman team came in and during the summer scrimmaged the national champion UCLA Bruins from the year before and beat them by 20 points. This is when freshmen could not play, and that was always an indicator to me of, hey, maybe those guys aren't as physically unable to play or whatever as you. And I think we knew when that story broke that the rules were going to be changing sometime soon.
Yeah. All right, Cricket joins us. Cricket.
Hola.
I hear you've got things. I don't know if it's tickets, but maybe it's something along those lines that you've got. And we talked about how you walk around this building with these pockets, like these huge pockets just bulging full of things falling out, like gifts and tickets
Lifesavers.
and
Cheetos and Cheerios.
There you go. Whatever it is. But what do you got for us right now?
Well, I have some information about a sweet deal that we're going to have on Friday. It's from the for the Cochise Country Music Festival at Forever Ranch in Benson in March. And it's featuring Shenandoah, Black Hawk, Eddie Montgomery, Casey Donahue, Neil McCoy, Colin Ray, George Burge, and so much more. So listen to this. On Friday, you can get a 3-day general admission festival pass for only $99.50, which is half off. 8:30 Friday morning at wildcatsradio1290.com. And you have to move fast because I think they will sell out.
Yeah, these sweet deals don't last very long. We had one last week to Tesoro Latin Kitchen and Cantina. A few weeks ago was one to Rusty's, the sports bar out there. Have you been to this the country festival in Cochise County?
A while ago.
A while ago.
Yeah.
Is that a pretty cool one? Like,
it is really cool. And being out on a ranch, it's really country.
Okay.
So I dig it. I think it's pretty cool.
I know we are mourning in our country community the death of Toby Keith from cancer, and you don't listen to a lot of country music, but I'm sure as somebody that works on Kim FM, you know a little bit about Toby and his career.
Very familiar with a lot of Toby Keith songs. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
That's hard. Either my list or beer for my horses.
Oh, yes.
Or there it's like, let's talk about me, or I love this. But I could go on and on.
Beer for my horses.
With Willie Nelson.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good stuff right there.
So talented and so like patriotic, and he really loved the military and first responders, and he stood behind that.
Yeah.
You know, fundraisers, doing charity shows. I think he was like a really good guy that people really liked.
Toby Keith, unfortunately, passing away this morning of cancer. And we, of course, send out all of our thoughts to his family and friends and all that loved listening to his music. Okay, thanks for that sweet deal, Cricket. Now get us home as sweetly as possible on these roads.
I shall try. From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio, 1290 Traffic and Weather together with a crash clearing at Aviation and Ritchie Boulevard and Aviation Parkway. Also some backups for Ajo Way and Mission, and some slowdowns on southbound La Cholla at Ajo Way. Wind advisory until 8 tonight, rain tonight into tomorrow, cloudy, windy, and 63 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio, 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by ChumbaCasino.com. With over 100 online casino-style games, Chumba Casino is your go-to destination for nonstop entertainment. Play for fun and play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Did you miss the big game? We got you covered.
Knocked away by Love and a steal. Off to KJ Lewis. Slams it home. And Arizona up by 6. Oh, what a big play.
PK on the Sports Tip. 3 to 6 weekdays.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Make sure your family is safe and warm during the cooler months. I'm Ron Arenas, the owner of Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. Heating is our middle name, and we can make sure your furnace is running efficiently. Call us at 520-440-4069 for honest heating and plumbing service to the Tucson area for over 20 years.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Our beautiful Arizona winter weather brings cooler overnight temperatures, which means some of you are now seeing your vehicle's low pressure warning light. Colder overnight temperatures can lower your tire's pressure just enough to trigger a warning light. But don't worry, many times the solution is simply adding the correct amount of air to your tires. Then get back to enjoying the fantastic winter weather. If adding the air doesn't do the trick, stop by any of our 14 area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with the low pressure warning light, we fix those too. Mention this radio offer for free installation with the purchase of any new tire pressure sensor. We'll install it in your wheel and rebalance your tires absolutely free. You'll find even more specials to get your car road trip ready at jackfurriers.com. So call ahead, make an appointment online, or just drop by. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Experiencing the Sonoran Desert's natural wonders comes easy at Rock & Kay. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. 6 model homes are now open to tour at Del Webb at Rock & Kay. Here, life is about more than just beautiful homes. It's about the experiences waiting outside your front door at this new 55-plus active adult neighborhood. LiveRockandK.com. Designed by nature, built for you. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
I don't think people understand how much cool air escapes into their walls and attic.
Or how much extra that costs you every month.
If only there was a way to explain how Alaskan AC keeps that from happening.
It's kind of like that.
Did you seriously just aeroseal Gary's mouth?
Notice how almost no air is getting through?
True.
You're right, Gary. Only Alaskan AC includes AeroSeal with every AC system we sell. It keeps the cool in your home, not in your walls and attic.
He said all that? What'd he say now?
You're probably paying 20 to 50% more than you have to. You'll see savings from your new AeroSeal included systems the very first year.
I had no idea Gary knew so much about AeroSeal.
It's a big part of how we customize heating and air systems so people are comfortable in every room.
I gotta hand it to you, Gary. You know how to make a good point.
A regular pro at this.
Oh, that's right.
Forgot the most important part.
AeroSeal, included with every system at Alaskan AC.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen here. Join me and my compadre, Chris Brockman, every Monday on the Overreaction Monday podcast as we dive into the latest headlines across the NFL playoffs. Are you ready, Chris Brockman?
Just as handsome as ever, buddy.
I appreciate you saying that, and I wish I could say the same to you.
Come on.
There is a ton to overreact to, as now every other team that didn't make the playoffs, they're already looking forward to next year. Come react or overreact with us leading up to the big game. Overreaction Monday, wherever you listen.
Wildcats Radio 1290 is everywhere. Wildcats fans can listen to us everywhere on our all-new app. Now available from the Google Play Store and the App Store for iPhone users. The home of the Wildcats is everywhere. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290. And now, the best thing you will hear all day.
Hachi-machi!
It's time for the Wildcat Radio Replay. In case you missed this earlier in the day, we now bring you the best of 1290. It's made possible by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, Adia Barnes might enjoy talking to us, the media, as much as she can. Maybe not the case with Tommy Lloyd, who had to sit down with us for the second time in 48 hours, and apparently that's maybe a bit too much.
I told Nate he's violating the 2 press conferences within 48-hour rule. So this press conference is done in protest. I'll just put that out there. It is. Even Bruce said it's too much. Like, come on, jeez. All right, guys, let's knock it out.
Well, do you put any stock into the difficulty of elevation for playing conditions?
I mean, I'm not a doctor. I did not stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, so I have no idea. I mean, we're going to go there. I've played there a bunch of times over the years, and yeah, I mean, guys will tell you they get winded, but usually they battle back, and I mean, no. I'm sure there's lots of theories on it. I don't know. We're going to go there and give it a rip. We're not going to overthink that stuff.
Well, teams being unbeaten at home is much more a testament to the team themselves. And
I would say so, and maybe there is something to it. I don't know. I mean, I just haven't taken time to research that because it's kind of outside of my mental capabilities. So, yeah, we're going to go there, and we're playing 2 really good teams on the road, and, you guys are informing me they haven't been beaten, so obviously it's going to be a great challenge.
Have you ever gotten to the point where you even think about like tweaking the rotation if guys are calling out, or do you have staffers who are apt to do any of that?
Nope. We'll watch it play out in front of us, and we'll react accordingly. And hopefully everybody will be healthy, and we'll have options. That would be the best case scenario for me.
Been one of the teams that's been able to stay healthy. I mean, Colorado's dealt with it, USC's dealt with it. A lot of these teams, Stanford had some guys out and limited. What have you tested maybe why you've been?
I mean, I think the first thing is you have to give credit to your training staff and your strength coach. I mean, J-Rock and Rounds do a great job, and they've been around for a long time. And just the medical setup overall is really good at Arizona. That's number one. And number 2 is probably just being a little bit lucky. I mean, you get a little bit lucky. I mean, there's lots of bodies, there's lots of feet on the ground, there's lots of guys in the air. So, sometimes you just have to come out on the lucky side of some of those injury types of things. So the combination of those 2 things usually are it.
In press conferences here after both the Colorado and Utah games, you said something to the effect of they're going to have something for us when we go up to their place. As you enter the back half of this Pac-12 schedule, a lot of teams are going to kind of want that revenge factor after losing here at McHale. What does that play into it? Do you see anything?
I'm sure they didn't feel too good about how the games went there, and they probably want to, a little bit of a revenge factor, and that's normal. That's human nature, and it's obviously we're aware of that, and it's going to be big games for both teams, and so hopefully our guys come out and understand how this game could impact our season, and we come out and play well. I mean, that's all I can hope for.
Just reflecting that, I mean, whether it's elevation or not, I mean, I think because of the schedule, you've only been to both these 2 places 3 times, lost twice. I mean, tough places to play.
I'd say tough places to play. Road's hard to play on, and like I said, there might be something into it, Bruce. But like you're asking the wrong guy. I mean, there's great professors at the University of Arizona, and I know you have access to the internet. You can look them up, and you can talk to them about the physiological aspect of playing at elevation. They'll know more than I will.
Actually,
there you go. It's beautiful. It's
actually,
good.
When they joined the league, and one of the things they said was that it's not bad the first 24 hours, but it gets worse.
Oh, it's just great. Yeah, beautiful. Propaganda. I love propaganda. Like, thanks.
Saturday games can be.
Bruce, not only you jinxed me on Saturday, and then now you're like throwing bad news at me. Like, because I don't like the direction this is going. What happens tomorrow? You know, so I don't know. We'll guys, we're gonna go there and play the game. We're not gonna overthink it.
That was the Wildcat Radio Replay with the best of the best from 1290. It's brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, we'll have the complete Tommy Lloyd press conference up on our website, Wildcats Radio 1290, so you can jump over there and check it out. That's going to wrap up our show for today. We'd like to thank all the folks that were part of this show, Brian Jeffries, Natalia Rivera from Pima Softball, and Harold Coleman, the uncle of Demetrius Flanagan Fowles. Thanks to JW Madden. Thanks to Cricket. Most of all, thanks to you for listening. My name is David Kelly. It's DK on the Sports Tip. Coming up next, the Adia Barnes Radio Show with Derek Palmer from the Sands Club. Have a great night, everybody. Bear down.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
if these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist and ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
He's kind and he's funny and he's also mustachioed. He solves all your problems by the end of every episode. TV Dad. Everyone loves TV Dad. TV Dad. Unlike your real dad, he never hollers. And he tells you how Progressive can save you lots of dollars.
Listen to your TV Dad. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We have the Arizona Wildcats covered on game day like no one else. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
Learfield and the Arizona Sports Network proudly present the Adia Barnes Radio Show. Each week, the Wildcats head coach will preview upcoming games and answer questions from fans in the audience. The Adia Barnes Radio Show comes to you live from the Sands Club at Arizona Stadium in Tucson. Now let's join head coach Adia Barnes and your host, Derek Palmer.
Very good evening here, and thank you for joining us as the Wildcats are successfully defending McHale. Big win against ASU, went 2 for 3 on that homestand. As I'm Derek Palmer, we got Coach Barnes making her way up here.
Walking in smelling French fries. That's like torture. I'm like,
As she's getting her headset on, let me ask, how many people are wearing any of the players' swag?
I need to
get some. That's cute. They definitely look cuter in person. Yeah. Oh, I didn't. Who has Helena's Cookie Monster shirt on? You didn't wash it. Come on. Did it turn out good? Yeah, that's cute.
So, Coach, you go 2-1 on the 3-game homestand. Said that was the minimum goal that you were trying to get with those 3 games?
Yeah, we knew realistically, like going 3-0 obviously is optimal, but I think going 2-1 was a good weekend.
How does that set up the rest of the season?
Well, there's a lot of season left. I'm looking one game at a time. You can't look ahead too much, especially like we have 7 people. Hopefully we'll have 8, but just one game at a time. So if you think about like this weekend, obviously you want to go at least get a split. You want to go and sweep, obviously. But I don't know, too many people have swept on the road. It's really hard. The percentage of wins on the road has been very, very slim. So going to L.A. and at least getting a split would be good. Getting a sweep would be fantastic, amazing, and going over would not be great.
You got a lot of teams in the league that are playing with short benches right now. Lots of games with.
I thought it was only like 1.
No.
Or 2.
No. Four teams last weekend played with 8 players or fewer, and then you had another 3 that only went with 9.
Oh, okay. Well, 9 is pretty typical.
9 is typical. 8, not so much.
8, I mean, yeah, because if you have a 10, 11 play, I think 8 can happen a lot, but like 8 under 8, like 7, 6 is not. I'm good.
Does it feel like now that your team has established that it's able to do that it's kind of everybody's reaching into your wheelhouse, or do you not even want to look at that?
No, I think that just we know that that's a reality. We could potentially have 7, and so I don't think they care. I think they're just playing hard and they're having fun. They're trying their best. They're working their butts off. So I think everybody's okay with it. And then if Kaylin comes back, it's great. If she doesn't, I think it's okay. So I think either way, it's just been kind of good.
We're going to have a special guest with Courtney Blakely joining us here in a moment.
And we have Joan Bonvicini. Do you guys remember Joan? Yeah, she's here. Where is she? She was here. She's here. She's there. She's everywhere. She's a smart woman. She's at the taco bar, right? Is that the taco bar? It's what? Pasta bar? She's Italian. Of course it's pasta. Bonvicini. Yeah, it's pasta.
We're going to talk to Courtney definitely here in a bit, but first we're going to go through the ASU game right after this here. It's the Arizona Sands Club, the Adia Barnes Show, and Arizona women's basketball on Learfield.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona women's basketball radio broadcast. 2 powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. coolwillies.com.
Get the backyard you've always wanted with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you're ready to dive in, then visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. Schedule now and get 3 months of full service free. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. First Choice Pools, the first and only choice.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on Identify EPI